Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Matt Madness Unsanctioned. My name is Ron Pashery, columnist for TJRWrestling.net. I am here with good friend of Derek McCauley, our first guest, the wise beyond his years.
Yeah, I guess so.
Russ, is it D'Agostino or D'Agostino?
Oh, it's whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
It's
because I could
technically D'Agostino,
okay.
but it's easier for people to say D'Agostino.
Yeah,
whatever rolls off the tongue. Water.
Yeah, as a fellow Dago, I wasn't sure. I wanted to get it right. I would have said D'Agostino myself.
You got to watch this Irish one.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You always do, yes. Derek McCauley, clearly not Italian like the two of us.
We can talk about it. It's not very
Yeah, he will be momentarily.
He'll see it eventually.
We'll pretend we didn't say anything today.
No.
So one thing I like to do with, I shouldn't say all of our guests because we've only had two. I like to find out who you are as a wrestling fan.
Absolutely. So I started watching wrestling at Payback 2015. As a kid, I wasn't really into it whatsoever.
Was it like you'd see it in passing, or you just?
Yeah, I saw like segments and stuff growing up. I think my first real exposure to WWF at the time was SmackDown 2.
Yeah.
SmackDown 2 Know Your Role for PlayStation.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think we were over. I think my mom's work friend had a barbecue or something. We went over there and there was a bunch of kids there and they were all like surrounded and they had a TV. I'm like, what's going on? Like, you get to see Kane and all these other guys. And I remember like watching the game. Kane was my guy. You know, I always played as Kane. I loved the game so much I had to go out and buy it myself.
So you didn't watch wrestling?
No,
but you played
I was
the game.
like, "Yo, this game's cool. I need to play it." So I didn't really know anything about it. I was just like, "This game's fun. I'm gonna play it." I like to play as Kane a lot. Mankind was a lot of fun to play as too. But other than that, I just kind of caught segments, over the years. Mm-hmm. I can remember one time. I can't remember exactly what happened, but someone got thrown through a car windshield, and I'm 8, 9, 10 years old. I didn't know what the hell was going on. They brought out the stretchers. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's gonna die. I had no idea. I had no idea it was a work or anything like that.
So it was still a shoot to you.
Still a shoot to me. Yeah, absolutely. And then just over the years, like I eventually came to like it. Mm-hmm. At 23, like I said, Payback 2015. I had a couple people over and they were interested in wrestling and said, "Hey, tonight's Payback. You want to watch it?" I was like, "Yeah, like how?" That's the first question. How do I watch this? So it was basically my buddy said, "Oh yeah, I have the WWE Network," and I was like, "Okay, go ahead and you log in through my PlayStation because they have the app on there." Oh shit, my password expired. So I was like, "Fuck." Okay, so I ended up doing the free trial, and I was like, "Okay, whatever." I watched it. The card, kind of forgettable, I guess. The main event of that one was the Fatal 4-Way. Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Randy Orton.
Okay, so that was the Payback. I was actually there. It was in Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Fatal 4-Way, Rollins, Reigns, Orton, and Ambrose, right?
Yes, the Shield.
The brief Shield reunion for 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was that's what my next comment was gonna be. Seeing them get Randy up for the triple power bomb and going through the announce table, I was like, that's it. That's it. I'm glad I got this free trial. And it's,
so you were hooked.
Hooked on the triple power bomb through the announce table. So like obviously now the whole Shield kind of triple threat looming, I am beyond excited.
So you've come like full circle.
I've come full circle. I didn't actually see the Shield breakup.
Yeah.
I've gone back and watched the Shield breakup. But yeah, so taking Randy Orton out of the mix, we'll talk about that eventually when we get to that part of the podcast about this triple threat coming up here at Battleground. But yeah, I got to watch the Payback thing, and then I started watching Raw the next week. I obviously couldn't tell you what happened.
Yeah, so I originally thought you were a 26-year-old.
No,
who just started a year and a half
I just
ago.
look. I don't have a baby face or anything like that. But no, yeah. And then I think it was Elimination Chamber. That was the next pay-per-view. So I kind of got to watch a little bit of the build to that.
Yeah.
I got to see the New Day a little bit, and we'll get to them eventually at some point. Yeah, and then this guy named Kevin Owens comes out on Raw, and I'm like,
I know that
who the
guy.
hell is this guy? You know, me, I've only been in the product for, a couple weeks
Yeah.
at this point in time.
So you were not all the way into NXT
No.
yet.
No. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? He thinks he just come out here and, start doing whatever. He steps on the U.S. title belt. And then at Elimination Chamber, he beats the face that runs the place. And that kind of was like, oh, this guy's, he's serious about, coming in here and making an impact.
Unbelievable match, too.
Oh, absolutely. And from there, it was like, okay, so this I can watch this too. It's on the network. So I kind of went back and watched a little bit of NXT, and I've been watching NXT ever since too. So, yeah, I have like a special place in my heart for Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. 'Cause they kind of hooked me onto both of the mainstream products that WWE's offering as of right now.
So now, what would you say made you fall in love with wrestling? Because I'm assuming it wasn't. Maybe it was love at first sight. I don't know.
Randy Orton hooked me, but I didn't fall in love completely until we went to Raw in December or November. I don't know if you were there.
I was there.
That was when Roman
Vince
finally,
came back.
Vince came back, and Roman finally got over for a couple hours, I guess.
Yeah.
It was
the 2 hours.
It was absolutely electric in that building. The match to start was kind of a snoozer, and we didn't really think anything was going to happen out of it. And Mr. Spot Caller over here, Derek McCauley, kind of does the duck of the bro kick, spear, and 1, 2, 3 pin, or however the match ended. But the "you deserve it" chants and all that stuff, it was
good
crazy.
fun at parties.
Yeah. I haven't been to a party with you, but I would guess you are. I'd bring you as a guest.
It's the Irish. It's the Irish. Yeah, but yeah, that was it. And,
so you fell in love that night.
Fell in love that night with Roman Reigns winning the WWE Championship.
Now, did you like Roman going into that?
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with him. The payback match, it was it was what it was. It wasn't anything blown out of the water. I did go back and watch at Extreme Rules the match he had with Big Show, which he pulled a match out of Big Show.
That was a good match.
That match was really good. I never had any problem with Roman, or anything like that. I mean, I understand that people kind of have this thing about stuff getting thrown at them, and it's always like that, if they want you to think this way, oh no, we're going to think this way.
Yeah.
Or, it's the same, historically it's been like that, like Rock the same way, how they ended up booing him and then eventually came around to him. So there's still hope for Roman.
They'll get there eventually.
They will get there eventually, I just don't know when, because, he has like this whole little, check mark on his sheet or whatever. Whatever he got popped for.
We may never know. That didn't help him.
No, absolutely not. I feel like a lot of people are going to have even more of a disdain now. People that are Seth Rollins fans, which, I consider myself a Seth Rollins fan, Shield fan in general. They're not going to take it easy on him by any means. No. So, I mean, it's going to be even more of an uphill battle for him moving forward.
They're trying to use Seth Rollins to build sympathy for him.
I don't think it's definitely not working. The whole Rollins report thing, the last week on Raw, was hilarious. They just kind of spliced the videos together, and it's so obvious that he's got the title in his hands over his shoulder at one point. It's sitting up behind him. He's got his hair down. He's got his ponytail or man bun or whatever is going on. It just it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was different. Different shirts.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it made me like Seth more. It didn't make me feel any sympathy towards Roman.
It's the exact point I made. I felt the same way. It's allowing Seth to be funnier.
Yeah, it's giving him more depth as the heel that he is. It's not doing what I guess they wanted it to do. I mean, that's their choice. It's their product. They can do whatever they want with it. We're here to sit and talk about it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do.
Now, was that the first show you went to? Was that Raw?
No. I actually went to the Raw after SummerSlam.
Okay.
With a couple of my friends. Maybe I lied. Only about falling in love, because that night was pretty awesome.
That's misremembering.
Okay, misremembering, yeah. That night was pretty awesome. I went with my friends Eric and Gage. They both live up in New Brunswick.
Okay.
So I kind of went up there. I parked there. We took the train in to Brooklyn. That whole weekend is kind of a big deal, especially for Brooklyn now that they've had it there, last year, this year, and I think again through 2017. The whole weekend itself has a very polarizing feel towards it. It kind of draws a lot of people in. But yeah, then the night itself was pretty cool. The Dudley Boys came back, and
that was that
me,
night.
I mean, I'm not a huge Dudley Boys fan because I only just came into it, but I've watched enough in that few months to know who the Dudley Boys were. It was the debut of Braun Strowman.
Okay.
And as a
everybody's favorite Wyatt family member.
I mean, I like the Wyatt family. I'm not so high on Braun Strowman just yet. The other thing was they had the unveiling of the Seth Rollins statue.
That was a big night.
Because he had won both belts, the night before at SummerSlam from Cena. And Sting comes back. And that's another one, not that I knew so much about Sting, because I wasn't really... And not really still in the WCW, but I knew who the guy was, and I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate what ended up happening to him over the next few months with the whole neck problem. But I'm glad that he got his place in the Hall of Fame, even though he dedicated a lot of his time to the other company.
Absolutely. He got to have 2 high-profile matches.
Yeah, with arguably the future of the company. So
the past. And
the
future.
I mean, it's not like Sting was going to win.
Right.
Going out, putting the new guy over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it would have been nice to see him win a WWE title, but c'est lovely.
Yeah.
Not
so one of the reasons I was very interested to talk to you have a very different journey.
Absolutely.
As a wrestling fan than most people I know. Most people I know watched it as a kid. Some watched it all the way through. Have been watching it for 30 consecutive years. Some people like me who watched it from age 5 to 20, 25, and then stopped, and then got back into it in my 30s. You started very recently, as an adult. So
just after your 26th birthday.
Yeah, just after you a freshly turned 26-year-old. So I ask everyone who their Mount Rushmore is. Their 4 favorites of all time. Most people have some people on there from a long time ago.
Yeah,
I'm very curious who your Mount Rushmore is. I know you dove into the product.
So
you watched it back a lot.
I'm gonna go right ahead and do my personal Mount Rushmore, and then I'll hit a couple honorable mentions, as I call them, that probably could be on there in any way, shape, or form. But for me personally, no. So my number 1 favorite of all time is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. I think in the ring, there's not... I mean, I'm not going to say there isn't. As of right now, I haven't seen anybody else in the ring perform like he's performed in the ring.
Right.
Both matches with The Undertaker, the match with, I think Vince said it was 22, with the trash can spot through with the elbow. Yeah, it was awesome. Shawn Michaels. I mean, having the opportunity to meet him at the Icons of Pro Wrestling Fest.
Second time we ever met.
Yeah, second time we ever met. That was right up there. It was awesome. I read both his books. Kind of got a little backstory on him. Like I said, my personal all-time favorite. I don't want to say that there won't ever be another person as good as him in the ring, because I think that on the horizon you could see eventually, someone becoming that type of person. But as of right now, all-time favorite, Shawn Michaels. He definitely deserves the immaculate position on there that I know Vince would love to see him just christened right there, carved in stone, chiseled in stone, Shawn Michaels.
Not to interrupt your Mount Rushmore, but you just made me think of something, because I never really thought about this. I always assumed there will never be another HBK. Do you think when there is someone who rivals as the next HBK,
you're going to put me in a spot,
he will be treated the way LeBron James is?
Oh,
for being
no. We're going to talk about LeBron?
We don't need to.
I love LeBron.
But LeBron gets a lot of hatred because a lot of Michael Jordan fans
can't
stand the idea.
So you're saying like that.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't think about
He's vilified by a lot of MJ fans who can't stand the idea that somebody might be as good as Jordan. Do you think that will happen to a guy who rivals HBK, or do you think wrestling fans will be
I think that
thrilled to see it?
I mean, me personally, I would be happy to see it, because I know Shawn is Shawn, and you have people that imitate him to a very T. And
one guy comes
in mind that I...
Braun Strowman.
Yeah, Braun Strowman, that's him. No. I just... Yeah, one guy comes to mind.
Often compared to being the next HBK.
Yeah, one guy comes to mind that very personifies Shawn in the ring. I never thought about it like that, though.
Me
as
neither.
far in that basketball sense.
I think he already exists.
Well, should I? Yeah, I'm just going to go out and say it.
I think he's already on.
I'm going to go out and say it that AJ Styles in the ring. I don't think anyone on the roster, for the past 15 or 16 years that he's done it, I think that he has the best chance of being the best in-ring performer. I think people like Nakamura and other people that I'll get to later. I don't want to spoil anything. Can attest to that as him being just one of those guys willing to bump all over the place and still get both guys over.
As a heel, he's been a lot more entertaining.
Definitely.
Is that what you were thinking as well, AJ Styles? Who were you thinking?
He's probably thinking.
Okay, you told me that before, actually.
Yes,
Seth
Rollins to me is the modern day Shawn Michaels. He doesn't have the pretty boy character or anything like that, but his in-ring capabilities, his way to get a great match out of anybody, he has the strength and physicality that Styles frankly lacks to a degree. Because Styles,
that's fair.
Because Styles has to evade a guy like John Cena. Seth Rollins can pick up a guy like John Cena and hit him with a Falcon Arrow off the top.
For a good portion of the match that they most recently had, he was wrestling all over.
Yeah,
and I thought that the story that they put into that was really well thought out. How he just couldn't hang with the technical part of it.
Yeah, he said he was going to run circles around him. He actually physically did it.
I think my sister might have walked into the room when I was watching it, and I'm kind of like glued to the TV or whatever. She's very quizzical about things. But no, Cena goes for his 2 shoulder tackles, and then he goes to duck the swipe, and Styles does. I think he kicks him in the face, and I was like, well, he didn't try to punch him. My sister's like, what are you talking about? But no, I think that AJ. I mean, he's old. He is up in years, and I totally understand why Derek would think that Seth Rollins too could definitely at some point replace him. He's pretty. Not that he's young, relatively young compared to someone like AJ.
How old is Seth?
I think he just turned 28 recently.
Yeah, he's like 20.
Yeah, he's pretty young.
So he's
got 10 years.
He's very new era.
Yeah.
AJ Styles has been
38. Yeah.
AJ Styles, for my money, I think is the best professional wrestler in the world today.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, number 2 very closely would be Nakamura. But I totally agree. I mean, AJ currently right now on the roster, it's either him or Rollins.
Yeah,
One of those two.
I mean,
current HBK form and model exists.
Yeah.
I guess is what we're getting at.
Yeah,
This is where I fade into the dope.
The other thing, eventually with the brand split, how Derek was talking about Seth and AJ, I think they could really have some barn burners.
I agree with that.
In the future here, depending on where they decide to go with the brand split. But we'll talk about it more.
Yeah. So who's next?
Okay, number 2, the biggest draw in company history, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right.
Like you were saying, before we started recording, the glass shatters. Everybody knows what's coming. Opens up a can, a whoop ass on anybody who's standing in the ring. The big double birds to authority. Just it's something a lot of people can relate to, and I think that merch, everything across the board. Again, a guy who can put on a show. He had all those matches with The Rock. I think 17 being the most notable, I guess, of the bunch. But yeah, that, and I think Rock, who I'll mention later, him and Austin, I think, are the 2 most recognizable athletes or professional wrestlers in recent memory that anybody can kind of know who they are. And it's a conversation starter.
Oh yeah.
People ask me, "Hey, I heard you like wrestling," and he's like, "Yeah." Stone Cold, and I'm like, "Yeah, I like Stone Cold."
Derek mentioned the Hulkamania shirt last week.
Yeah.
If you were in an Austin 316 shirt,
exactly.
Everybody's going
You knew.
to know
Exactly. You were the cool kid with the Austin 316 shirt. Don't cross that guy. Yeah. That's what I wore that to the Foley show. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I wore that in a flat. Go figure. I had to, cross them right together.
I was wearing this in a different hoodie.
So Steve Austin is definitely my number 2. Well, in no order. My second person on the list. My third person on the list, I put John Cena. Me, as being a new fan, he is the face that runs the place.
He is.
He has the most pull out of anybody.
He does.
Again, another super recognizable star. I think his storylines are pretty accessible to people who aren't really into the product, and they say, "Oh, I know John Cena. Let me check out what he's doing."
Yeah.
And it's something that kind of you hop into. He's hosted the Today Show, the ESPYs. Outside of WWE, he's a great dude. We were talking about it earlier. He's helped so many people with Make-A-Wish, things like that. I feel like a lot of people on the roster can learn from him, even though I don't know how he is backstage, but a lot of stories that you've heard are he's not the most pleasant guy within the locker room.
Yeah.
And I understand he's been there for a long time and has the most pull, and he's in Vince's pocket, or vice versa.
You got to think he's almost separate from the locker room.
Yeah, almost. He has an office next to Vince or something. You know what I mean? It's nothing like that. But yeah, the polarizing of the crowd. I like John Cena. I understand where people are coming from, that he's been forced down your throat for the past 10 years. Not my throat.
Yeah.
I'm, I'm excluded. No. I'm gonna say the first real match that I saw him wrestle, he lost to Kevin Owens. So I don't know what you're talking about.
So you have the most opposite point of view of John Cena.
Yeah,
than
I love
anybody
John
else
Cena.
who
I love
watches
John
wrestling.
Cena. Yeah, I love John Cena. My last person on the list, I put Ric Flair. I don't know if that's different or anything, but I think 2-time Hall of Famer, 16-time world champ. He's done it for a long time. Still's on TV every so often. He was in Brooklyn the night too, the Raw after. He had a moment with Stewart and Cena. But yeah, I put Ric Flair on there. I can't say that I'm hugely versed in Ric Flair stuff. I just put him on there because of the resume.
Yeah, he's done as like the last true great traveling champion. Some of the best promos in the history of the business. 4 Horsemen. His own belt. He's the only guy that everyone. He's not the only guy anymore. But he was the first guy to have his own belt that he had designed himself. So yeah, I think Ric Flair is a good addition to any Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, a couple honorable mentions I just wanted to throw out. Hulk Hogan, obviously, he's people like my dad and my uncle. Those are the people that they can remember as a kid.
Arguably the biggest ever.
Yeah, arguably the biggest ever. In the ring, not the most athletic person around. Derek can attest to this. When we went to the Icons of Pro Wrestling Fest, we got to talk to Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. And Gary, Derek's friend and my mutual friend, he's a great guy, got to talking about Orndorff's feuds with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
And Gary kind of gave him the elbow. You really had to pull him along in a couple of those matches. And he goes, "Yeah, you're damn right." That's why Hogan didn't make it into the next for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good little story. I also put The Rock on here. Again, huge star. Personally, like I said, I wasn't watching. Taking a step back, I think he might have left a little early to do the whole movie thing.
Yeah.
It worked out, pretty well for him. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that he has any, reservations about leaving.
Right.
But that's why I didn't include him on my personal.
Yeah, he didn't have the
Rushmore.
longevity in WWE.
I mean, then again, so Austin really didn't either. But,
that's true.
But I just feel like Austin was the bigger star.
He was.
Just for me personally. The other person I put on here was The Undertaker. I think Derek may have included The Undertaker, or at least talked about The Undertaker. Obviously, he's the most respected guy in the history of professional wrestling. What he did with a gimmick of being dead for 25 years and being able to reinvent himself.
It's a long time to be dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did do the whole, American Badass or whatever it was. But yeah, being dead for 25 years, it's super impressive. And I mean, I don't know if he's got it in him anymore. I haven't really heard about anything.
Yeah,
Having anything planned for Undertaker. But I also put him on my honorable mention list. The other person I put as a joke, I put 4 different faces of Vince McMahon, just emblazoned in stone. I put that up there.
That's his Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, it's me,
his own
Austin.
personal Mount Rushmore is himself.
Exactly. But yeah, so that's my Mount Rushmore. Like I said, people have wavering opinions on it.
That's the best thing about it is your
Mount
Rushmore
I guess so.
is your
it's
own
mine.
personal Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, if I'm gonna, exactly. If I'm
a big
crafting
proponent.
it, I'm putting it in.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of nobody watches wrestling the exact same way. Nobody likes the exact same things. So I make the argument all the time of like a lot of people don't like Roman Reigns because he's not AJ Styles or he's not Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Everybody can't be those
Also,
guys.
not as relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a hulking, huge, long hair.
Yeah,
the chicks gravitate towards that guy, not us.
Not the smarks.
No.
But if everybody was the same, it would get boring really fast.
Exactly. So you can't,
So that's why I like getting different opinions, different viewpoints. And yeah, anybody's Mount Rushmore is their own opinions, what they like, who they think belongs there. So I would never begrudge anyone a single selection on there, unless it was Goldberg. That'd be my only exception.
Goldberg had a good podcast with Steve Austin recently.
See, I haven't listened to it. It's worth listening to.
I thought I enjoyed it. I don't really know much about Goldberg besides he had the little streak thing and whatever, but I enjoyed it.
Maybe I will listen to it then. I've been like boycotting it just because I don't like Goldberg. Okay. But maybe I'll give it at your suggestion. Maybe I'll give it a listen.
Like
I said,
2
episodes, right?
Yeah, they did one episode that was like a majority of the stuff they were talking about. They talked about the whole thing with I'm I'm drawing a blank here. Who was it, Derek? I'm going to need historian question here.
Breaking the fourth wall here.
No, Diamond Dallas
Colt
Page.
Cabana over there.
Was it DDP? No, him and DDP had a great match. Who was the one that like did the shoot style on him? On Goldberg.
Oh, Goldberg.
Yeah, like someone came out and like actually tried to wrestle him, and he was like, "What?"
Oh,
They talked about it in the podcast.
This was in WCW?
And here I am.
yeah. Somebody
Here I am putting the podcast over, putting Stone Cold over,
somebody
and I cannot
actually
remember.
shot on Goldberg.
Someone
I
like
forget who it
still
is
in
that
the
shot on,
business.
because the more prevalent story is the WWE one where somebody shot in on Kurt Angle
Yeah.
and tried to shoot on an Olympic champion and got destroyed.
Obviously.
And then Jericho had his actual fist fight with Goldberg.
Yeah,
Which
see,
to hear Jericho tell it, he won.
Yeah.
yeah, see,
I'd like to believe that.
yeah, see, I'm in the process of reading Jericho's book, so he did talk about that a little bit.
I have a theory that Goldberg's all smoke and mirrors. Anyway, Cody
I've
Rhodes,
always thought
shout
that.
out.
Come back, please come back.
Yeah.
No,
No, stay far away.
I'll remember. I'll remember who tried to shoot on Goldberg.
Yeah, feel free
At some
to
point,
jump
and I'll
in
just
at
scream.
any
I'll
point.
just scream it out, and it won't make any sense, and then I'll come back and
Yeah.
rewind in context and make sure that it makes sense.
So your Mount Rushmore is your favorites of all time.
Yes.
I also like to find out who are your favorites currently. Who do you? It doesn't have to be limited to 4. It could be.
Oh, it was funny because I made some notes just because like I want to make sure that I give a shout out to everybody that I'm a fan of.
Right.
It's long.
No
But
worries.
we're not going to go super long. I'm going to try to keep it, maybe like a half a dozen or so.
But however
but
many,
we'll
however
see.
many you
Okay,
feel need to be mentioned, you're
All right,
free
so
to
my
mention.
number one guy, my favorite guy is Dean Ambrose. I think his look is so unique as far as the 3 people in the Shield. I mean, when he was with the Shield, he kind of had the same
Yeah.
gimmick. But as far as when they split up and did their own thing, Roman's still wearing the bulletproof vest, like he's still in the Shield.
Mhm.
Seth still has the black for the most part. Dean kind of looks like you found him on a street corner and said, "Hey, like, can you come fight for me tonight?" And
Yeah, wet hair all in
yeah,
his face.
and I mean, he looks like a normal dude. Again, back to that Elimination Chamber, he had the match with Seth for the title. J&J were out.
Mhm.
I like J&J.
Me too.
I just
Big
want
fan.
to slide it in. I wish they came back, but they had the whole thing with Lesnar.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So they did that weird DQ finish. I don't know if you remember it vividly, but
I do.
Rollins kind of pulls the ref in front, and then Ambrose clips the ref,
Yeah.
and they forget about it for a little bit. So the ref goes to count the pin, and Dean Ambrose pins Seth Rollins in the ring. I had only been watching the product for a month or two.
Yeah.
I didn't know the rules.
Yeah.
Here I am. I'm like, yeah. I was so happy that Dean won the belt. And then like my friends are like, dude, it was by DQ. The belt doesn't change. And I was like, oh my. I was devastated. And,
So you found out the hard way.
I found out the hard way
DQ
about
not-
the DQ finish. Yeah, it was terrible. But that night
But how great is it that you could be that invested that you'd be upset?
oh yeah, absolutely. Like, suspension of disbelief. That's the personification of that. Went out and bought a Dean Ambrose shirt, and it's been cool ever since.
Yeah.
So
Love
yeah,
Dean Ambrose.
yeah, absolutely. Dean is.
So now I have a question
man.
about Dean Ambrose.
Okay.
On our show, one of the co-hosts, Aaron, and I have often argued about
Yeah,
whether
I've heard.
Dean has been too silly
Yeah.
and not the lunatic that he is supposed to be.
Okay.
Is this something you've picked up on? Do you care?
I don't know why they
other?
call him the lunatic. He had been the lunatic when I started to
Yeah.
watch. And I feel like it's mostly just like a buzzword thing for JBL and Michael
Yeah.
Cole to just
Which is they're all buzzwords in
Yeah.
commentary.
He doesn't need to be a lunatic to be a good wrestler. So I don't see any reason why they still use the whole moniker the lunatic. He's not doing anything crazy. They had that Asylum match, was a train wreck.
Yeah.
Oh, it was bad.
It was.
It was bad. And like I hope that buries the I mean they're still gonna call him the lunatic fringe, whatever. They have merch that says lunatic fringe,
Yeah.
okay. But no, I understand what Aaron was saying. He was too silly. I understand where he's coming from. That some of the stuff that he does with like the whole potted plant thing, the rug, the scarf, it comes off as being kind of funny and gimmicky and hokey. But the promo from last week's Raw really struck a nerve with me as a Dean Ambrose mark. It was the most serious I've ever seen him in a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It was also probably the best promo of the year.
It was great.
And I could not be more excited for next week and then also Battleground. It did exactly what it needed to do. Is hype up this fight. I'll fight you anytime, anywhere. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And Dean's been like that guy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
When he was feuding with Owens, it was like, whatever, I'll face whoever I have to.
Yeah.
They put him in I think it was a Fatal 5-Way or whatever they call him, and he ends up losing that time. But yeah, I mean, you never see him complain about anything, and I feel like that most people like to see that in him. He's not one to work around things. He'll take anything head on, and I hope this is turning a corner and getting away from the silly Dean Ambrose, because I think he can definitely be taken seriously.
Right.
People like JBL like to put him down. I mean, I understand he's the heel commentator. That's what he's supposed to do. It just gets really annoying.
It does.
And I especially as a mark for Dean. I don't want to hear it.
To your point about the promo doing exactly what it needed to do, I had been saying, like, Dean was almost portrayed as the little brother out of the Shield. Like, Roman clearly has always been up here.
The big dog.
Seth had the long title reign and got the huge response when he came back, got put right back in his spot. And I always felt like Dean was, like, lagging behind, not through any fault of his own.
No.
And
just that's the way that it was in the cards.
And that promo, I feel like, put him right on their level. He's no longer the third guy.
Yeah.
I feel like all three of them are now on an equal playing field, and that's exactly what they needed to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Dean Ambrose is a good choice. Who else? Who else on your half dozen to a dozen names?
Yeah, so the next group of names that I put on here was the New Day.
Okay.
So initially,
I know you own a New Day track jacket.
I do own the New Day track jacket. It's pretty awesome.
It is.
I haven't had too many people say anything to me. Which is kind of disappointing. Yeah. I kind of want people to be like, oh, New Day rocks. But they're entertaining.
Oh,
I understand like some people think they're a comedy act, but Big E in the past year has improved a lot in the ring. Kofi's been with the company for 8 years.
Yeah,
that's not a number that I know. I'm just thinking.
No, but roughly.
And Xavier is a good third fiddle. I mean, he can wrestle too, by all means. But he plays his role well as like the manager / hype guy. That's what he's there for.
The guy who you wanted to see get knocked out when they were heels.
Yeah, exactly. And like now he's the guy that everybody like in the New Day liked.
Yeah.
Or not New Day, in the WWE universe.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know if this is accurate or not, but that Raw after SummerSlam may or may not have been the debut for Francesca as well. I can't recall. I remember him having it at that event, but I do not know if he had it before that event.
Yeah, I can't remember. You might be right though.
Maybe. I can't really remember. But merch, everything, across the board, they're super entertaining in and out of the ring. I think Kofi and AJ had a match a couple weeks ago. I think it was on SmackDown. That was really good for a SmackDown match.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't get to see much of that. But yeah, at this point, I think the New Day are at this point of being over as over can get. They don't need the belts anymore. I think the belts need the New Day more than the New Day need the belts. Who is going to step up and take those belts remains to be seen. Initially, we had thought the Club would be that group to come in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Wyatt family is, in this feud with the New Day. So we'll see. I mean, I like the Club and I like the Wyatt family, so both of them, I could see them being tag champs at some point.
One.
Yeah, but the New Day, they don't really need it anymore.
They're coming up on a full year.
Yeah, I think so. They might have passed the full year. I think they were coming up on the Brian Kendrick and Paul London's reign. Okay. Or they already did that. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah. Because SummerSlam last year, I think they won them back from Primetime Players.
Yes.
So maybe it is right. They are coming up on a year. Okay. Another person I put on this list was Bayley.
Good choice.
I know that you like Sasha Banks. I know that you like Becky Lynch. I'm going to go in the middle.
So we got 3 of the 4 horsewomen right now represented.
No one will pick Charlotte.
Charlotte's all right.
I like Charlotte.
So do I. She hit that moonsault.
She's no Becky.
I popped for the moonsault.
No Becky.
She had a great moonsault.
Yeah.
Better moonsault to most of the guys that do it at this point.
Her moonsault, I don't even know if that's going to pick me up.
I think it will.
Her moonsault reminds me of Kurt Angle's. Kurt Angle's moonsault was so beautiful, but he never hit anybody.
Yeah, she rarely does.
Because he would make sure to get full, just height, spin, everything. He would land flat as a pancake. Like he was
and then just sell it.
That wasn't even a sell, dude. That had to hurt so hard. If you've ever seen him miss one of those, Angle just ate it so hard. Yeah. Just right to the abdomen for those.
Yeah, the only one I think I saw Charlotte hit was the one off the top rope. WrestleMania, yeah.
Her moonsault is reminiscent.
To the outside, I think it was besides.
Is reminiscent of Angle.
It's a good comparison. I never thought of it, but
Also, a lot of people are using the frog splash now.
yeah, getting a lot of play. The frog splash.
They've been talking about Eddie a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, I think we figured out earlier what the whole Eddie movement was.
With the whole Sasha Banks
I gave
thing.
Sasha Banks the Eddie Guerrero U.S. title to sign. That inspired her to wear Eddie Guerrero ring gear. And now, the rest is history.
Yeah, about to say, now they won't stop talking about
it. She went home and laid in bed at night and was just like, that really cool guy.
A really cool bald guy.
Yeah, I should wear that Eddie Guerrero gear.
Remember that Eddie Guerrero gear we talked about? I think we should go ahead with it.
Let's pull it out.
She even had cool guy from New Jersey.
You can't really see it, but
stenciled on the side of the tights.
Yeah, you need a microscope, I think, to see it.
It was a Ron Patrick original.
Yeah, it was.
So anyway, let's get back to talking about Bayley. She, I think, out of the four of them, is the underdog. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
They've done this they did it before where she was the underdog. The feud that she's in now, kind of coming back from injury, it's kind of the underdog story again. Asuka is still undefeated in NXT. I just think, again, she's pretty relatable. Initially, I was kind of leery because I'm like, this is kind of kiddie. You know, I felt it was kind of hokey. You know, the whole the hand gestures, the blow up man, and whatever. And then, like, at some point in time, I guess it must have been Brooklyn, or, you know, eventually when they were phasing Sasha to the main roster and Bayley as the head of the women's division. That's when I kind of realized she could really hold her own in the ring. And I think it gave her a lot of maturity in the ring and as a character in those two matches with Sasha, both the Iron Woman match and the match Takeover. Unless those were the same. That was the next Takeover.
Yeah, it was Takeover Brooklyn and then Takeover Respect. Was it Respect?
Yeah, I think it was Respect. But yeah, she got a lot of maturity out of that. I think she can be a legit star in the company moving forward.
Oh yeah.
I know that Sasha's looking for a tag partner in this feud that she's in now. So
maybe.
I mean, hey, make a couple phone calls.
Yeah.
And, but at Battleground.
Yeah.
Maybe not Battleground. Let's wait. She'll find somebody else. Someone else will come out. And
yeah. So the thing about Bayley is, as much as I'm a Sasha mark, Bayley. So I went to the two original NXT shows that were in Upper Darby outside of Philadelphia for anybody who's not local. And Bayley was clearly number 4 in that pecking order out of the 4 horsewomen. They had the fatal 4-way match the one night. Sasha and Charlotte were the main event one match. And it was clear that Sasha and Charlotte were the two faces of their women's division at that time.
And I mean,
then 3 of them get called up. And I met Bayley at the Performance Center back in September. She was the champion for about 2 months at this point. Maybe not even. And a week from then was going to be the Iron Man match. And her neck was still messed up from when she landed on her head.
Yeah.
At Brooklyn.
Yeah, it took that weird spill.
But you could see that day, like being the champion, she was one of the people who was like carrying that day. Like there's 25 fans there that they're showing around this place. She was one of the people. Sami Zayn was there. He was still injured. He was like the most vocal, talking to everybody.
Yeah,
telling everybody everything. Like super personable. But Bayley did a lot with a lot of talking to the fans, a lot of explaining things. And then when I saw her at Upper Darby again this past February, it was like night and day, the performer she was. Where she
Absolutely.
was...
I was there the most recent one.
Okay.
With Austin Aries debuted in the tag match?
Yeah, she was doing the Ty Dillinger Perfect 10.
Yeah,
she did the cartwheel.
She did it all,
She was leading a lot of Bayley cheers. It was like she was the most entertaining person there, probably.
I think the thing with Bayley is that she has a very unique marketability. And you always want to think about who your audience is. Mm-hmm. And she's turned into someone that is literally marketable to anyone that's trying to watch the product.
Yeah.
If WWE can recognize that and run with it, I think that she could be a huge star in the women's division.
Yeah, I think she's going to be big.
Yeah. We know what the company is kind of notorious for doing. I really hope they just take a step back with the women's division and let them do their thing. It worked in NXT. It'll work up here. You just have to give them the time, in the ring, outside of the ring. And like you were saying on your show, it starts with two stories. You can't just have one women's story on a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
And I mean, even then, you have 5 hours a week. if you with the brand split, the pay-per-views are going to be sometimes 2 a week or every other week. You have all this time. You need to dedicate it to this women's division.
Yeah, you start.
You have so much.
Up.
You have so much talent in there from the newer people: Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley. Natty is still around. She's still a good hand in the ring. You have other people. Naomi, I don't know where the hell she's been.
She was hurt, and then she was filming the Marine 5.
Okay.
With
I haven't. Maybe she's on main event. We have to ask Aaron, I guess.
Yeah.
Where Naomi? Yeah, the biggest
the
main
biggest
event
shield
guy.
for main event.
Yeah. No. I mean, Naomi's good enough in the ring. That she could definitely play a role.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like Dana Brooke. I like Dana Brooke.
She
has a lot of potential. Exactly. That's where it really stems from. In the ring, she leaves a lot to be desired right now. She has this look about her that is kind of very female bodybuilder kind of thing that a certain chairman of the board may take a liking to.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting to see where they decide to go, but I definitely think they need to take a step back and let them do their own thing.
I agree with you completely. Now, was there anybody else you want to mention now? As many as you want to mention.
Okay.
I don't want you to leave anybody off that you're a fan
of. I'm gonna just rattle a couple off and try to just do a quick word. Sami Zayn, I gotta give a shout out there because I know he loves Sami Zayn. I didn't really see a lot of Sami Zayn because he was hurt for a majority of the time. Kind of went back and watched a couple things with him and Neville and stuff like that. Really took a liking to him. Very charismatic, energetic kind of guy. It's really fun to see on television. Nakamura, I watch a lot of New Japan, so I'm kind of familiar with Nakamura. Watched him quite a bit. I'm so glad that he is with WWE.
Same here.
People are going to be very surprised when he eventually hits the main roster, what kind of reaction he's going to get. Because if he's not getting a reaction, he'll get a reaction. He'll squeeze something out of you.
Mm-hmm.
The Kinshasa, as they're calling it now, is one of the most exciting things. And part of it's Tom Phillips and Corey Graves.
Yeah.
The way they kind of build to it.
Yeah, they really are putting it
Corey
over.
Graves just goes into overdrive, and he just sells the hell out of it. But yeah, Nakamura's a guy I think on the main roster whenever that time comes. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. It'll probably be sometime next year. I think he's going to make a big splash.
I think he will too.
A couple other people I have on here. Scott Dawson, particularly. I am not a fan of Dash Wilder whatsoever. I think Dawson has the look. He's got the Arn look. I like how they click the belts together.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, part of me is like, isn't that going to mess him up? But part of me was like, that's cool. Those guys are cool.
It is, and those belts, which I found out at the Performance Center, like in WWE, you have your own belt. When somebody wins it, they give you
and they'll make it
your own. Those NXT belts are the same belts they've been.
So they're okay.
Like Bayley said, this is the belt Sasha carried around. This is the belt Charlotte carried around. There's the NXT tag belts. So yeah, I'm assuming those belts have been through a lot of wear and tear.
A lot of. No, but I like Scott Dawson a lot in particular.
Now, do you like them as a tag team? Or
they're okay as a as a tag team. Yeah, I don't know how long Dawson would last on his own.
Yeah,
just because their gimmick is heel. They work together in tandem, old school tag team wrestling. I think they work best as a tag team. I don't think they would have any prolonged singles runs in them. I mean, who knows?
I can only imagine how they would bill Scott Dawson on his own. I think that they would probably call him the last of a dying breed.
It might not be the worst gimmick.
Since it was basically just Bull Dempsey's gimmick.
Yeah. Because he already died.
Where's he at? Yeah, he's gone. Well, he was at Icons Fest too.
Yeah.
He's kind of shorter than I expected him to be.
Yeah, he was. He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude, but not as tall now. Another person I put on here is Jason Jordan. I like Chad Gable too, but Jason Jordan, I will never not pop for the strap pull down. Every time it gets me.
Yeah.
The 2 out of 3 falls a couple weeks ago on NXT. I actually watched it last night. I'll come clean. I haven't been as up on NXT as I am right now. Oh man, he is just electric. I think him and Big Cass should have a hot tag off.
Oh man,
just to see who would have the hottest tag of the two of them. Both of them strong as hell. Cass is kind of a little bit more limited as far as wrestling goes.
Yeah.
Not that I have a problem with doing what he's doing.
Great.
He's great. Exactly what they're doing.
Is.
Yeah, big boot. He's got the whole lineup. He's got to check off each one. Nothing against him. I understand. But Jason Jordan picking up dudes, throwing dudes.
He's one of the most explosive guys they have.
Yeah, and he's been there for a while, I guess, too. See, that's not something I've really known. I've only really seen him with American Alpha and him kind of being reluctant to tag with Chad Gable.
Yeah, because he was tag partner with Ty Dillinger for a little while. They were calling them like the Blue Chippers or something. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah,
that sounds pretty awful.
Yeah, well, that was back when they were both also just total jobbers.
Yeah,
they were just
they lost to everybody,
and now they're arguably two of the most over guys.
Now, granted, Dillinger still kind of is. He's super over, but he's still basically.
He loses to everybody.
He's basically just losing to people. So he's got the Zack Ryder effect, but he hasn't been worn out quite as bad as Zack yet.
Right.
Like, people don't believe, like, when he won the IC belt at Mania, people
thought he was getting a push.
It blew their mind because it was just like, wow, he's a non-factor. He just won the belt. That's crazy.
Yeah, he was like the one guy who's like, well, I know he's not going to win.
Dillinger, I can believe. I don't 100% think he's going to lose every time.
Well, I think they need to hit that 10th loss at least, so they can do the 10 losses, and then maybe it'll start to pick up for them there.
Yeah, but both of them always had some kind of talent.
Yeah.
Dillinger was more build a character, and Jordan was always just a specimen.
Yeah,
so I mean, putting him with another equally incredible physical specimen and just technical wrestler like Chad Gable, it's a perfect team.
Yeah, it was, and Chad Gable has brought a lot of personality out of Jordan.
And definitely. I mean, part of the strap pulling is just where they kind of like Hulk up each other.
It's Angle-esque.
Yeah, it is.
They're the modern Team Angle. They're Haas and Benjamin, the world's greatest tag team.
Yeah. Now, do either of you think we'll ever see Kurt Angle?
Yeah, and
managing?
I was about to say I hope so. I know there's been a lot of dirt sheets swirling about. Oh, Kurt talked with Triple H, and they have something set up.
Yeah, and IWC
I don't have anything.
For it.
Yeah, I don't have anything set up. But yeah, I would love to see Kurt come back, even if it is just to manage them, for a little while on the main roster. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Jason Jordan.
Yeah, he's great.
A couple other ones I like. Seth Rollins, obviously, it's hard to not like Seth Rollins. Cesaro, a lot of fun. My buddy Eric likes Cesaro, so I gotta give a shout out to Eric.
Now, not the Eric that's banned.
No, not the Eric
not
that's
the
banned.
suspension.
I don't want to get in any hot water with any Erics. So
we would never give him publicity.
Well, this is an unsanctioned show. So
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that to him. But yes, my buddy Eric really likes Cesaro. Wish he would get a push. Wish Cesaro would get a push.
I thought it was going to happen after he won the Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant.
See, I wasn't there, but I did go back and watch it. But yeah,
I was hoping that it would happen then. Then he became a Paul Heyman guy, and then nothing happened.
No.
And it's kind of been the same
thing.
And
he's super strong, athletic. The swing is exciting.
How do you feel about the James Bond / Jason Statham?
I like it.
So you're a fan of it?
I do.
Okay. Because I know
I like how he comes out of the side, something different, distinguishes himself from everybody else.
Now, do you like that they have the 007 gun barrel behind him?
Yeah, why wouldn't we?
I don't know. Some people don't like it.
I don't know.
I think some people on my show, some other people I've talked to.
Not the suspension.
No, okay. I don't know if he's on record one way or the other. I know he likes Cesaro. I mean, the thing with him was always having a character, and I think he's getting to build one. And some of him is like who he can play off of. So he can play off some guys a little better than others.
Yeah, like a guy like Miz. I think him and Cesaro can really play off of each other as far as their personalities and stuff like that. But yeah, I think most of the criticism I've heard of Cesaro is that he can't really articulate promos to the crowd. He can play off the crowd.
Yeah.
He gets everybody riled up, or he does the around the ring uppercut or whatever. But yeah, he has a hard time articulating promos. Part of the business is knowing how to talk and talking well. I understand the criticism, but I think he has a lot more to offer in the ring.
Yeah.
And part of it, like you said with Paul Heyman, is giving him a mouthpiece that can talk. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out with Paul, but hopefully they can find something, to maybe add on to Cesaro and kind of give him the push that he deserves.
Yeah, I felt like he got to show more personality. He was developing more personality when he was in the tag team with Tyson Kidd.
Yeah. Because
they were kind of like this sarcastic, everything they'd say, fact, after everything they said. He got to be a little bit more funny and show a little more personality in that tag team. And then, unfortunately, what happened to Tyson Kidd happened to Tyson Kidd. And Cesaro's been finding his way ever since. But I think he's in a better spot now than he has been in a while. But he's
definitely
had great matches every week.
I think part of Shane coming back, making it feel like that something new and, kind of taking Vince out of it. I mean, someone's booking Raw. It's not Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
But seeing the newer guys kind of get a little bit of a push. For a minute there, it was kind of boring because it was the same four guys, different matches over and over and over again. But they were all entertaining matches. And I think, Cesaro is a guy who super, freak and pick up, when he does like the vertical suplex and it's just like all the blood rushes to their head. And, he does it for 10 or 15 seconds or whatever before eventually turning it over. I think why not?
Yeah, Cesaro definitely like a unique guy. He's more athletic than you'd think.
Oh yeah,
he's one of the strongest guys in the company.
Yeah, I think probably hands down, I think Cesaro probably is the strongest guy in the company.
Yeah, he shows both, which is good. He showcases both of those abilities, and like you said, he knows how to get a reaction from the crowd.
Yeah,
his hand gestures or any gestures he
even
does,
like
he
when the swing's coming, he gets his finger up in the air, and everybody's like, and it's not like he's swinging, cruiserweights.
Yeah,
he's swinging around big dudes.
Yeah, big guys. He's Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
he's done it to the Big Show, I believe. Like he's done it to some heavyweight guys.
Yeah, exactly. You just said Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is another one on my list. Like I said earlier in the podcast, like I always have a spot for Kevin Owens. Initially, I was like, "What a dick."
Yeah.
But now I think that he's probably the best heel that they have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, AJ too.
Yeah.
AJ is playing the heel right now, but Owens has been healed the whole time.
Consistently, just a great heel that gets under your skin.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I guess we'll segue right into Adam Cole. I have my Adam Cole shirt on, if anybody can see it. Adam Cole and Kevin Owens both have great timing as heels, and they'll come out, they'll get that initial pop. You can hear it on Raw. Mm-hmm. People like Kevin Owens, people like the internet wrestling community and smarts everywhere. Well, not all of them. Most of them. They have great timing, and they're getting their good reaction, and then they'll say something, and it'll piss you off, and they'll get the booze, and they know when to get the booze. Even in the ring, Owens in the ring, I don't think there's anybody else better talking in the ring, and not calling spots like a certain Shawn Michaels faker. I don't want to mention his name. I don't think we're gonna.
Yeah, you don't.
I'm gonna try to go as long as possible without saying his name.
Good, we've gone a while. We've gone probably about 45-ish minutes.
Oh, you talking about Dolph Ziggler?
Oh, fuck you, Derek.
If anybody was going to do it, that's who it was going to be. D-Mac, as he's been named by the guys on my show. I don't know if you're aware of
Dolph Ziggler. I haven't really... Like, I know this is unsanctioned and there's no, cursing limit, but fuck Dolph Ziggler.
No,
I will say that.
I kind of say that without saying that every week. The one thing I gave him credit for was every time I talk about him, I just say I hate the whole, I try really hard gimmick. It's like the old Lionheart Chris Jericho gimmick from when he started in WCW. I liked that they at least acknowledged it.
Yeah, with the phone call.
A couple weeks ago. Yeah, Mom, I tried real hard. I lost again. It was close, though. I was like, okay, I'll at least tip my cap to you.
Yeah, that and the Vicky Guerrero thing was hilarious. But yeah, I'm just not very big on
No, I'm not a fan.
And then AJ Styles again, like I said before, I think he has that potential to be the next. Well, not the next, but in ring, one of the best. Right next to Shawn Michaels, if not surpassing.
Yeah, matches are great. No matter
we'll
who
see.
he's
Yeah,
in
I mean,
with.
I know, like I said, the Kofi one on SmackDown was excellent. I think he might have did Woods as well. That I think they squeezed a good one out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did have a good match with Woods. I forgot that was on SmackDown. I think, right?
Yeah, it might have been. But yeah, I'll give a shout out to Gallows Anderson as well. Like I said, I watched quite a bit of New Japan, so I know who they are. I've seen them. Carl Anderson in New Japan, they had this thing when they were in a feud with the Kingdom. Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, and Maria. And Carl Anderson would just get so fixated with Maria, and it would start costing him matches. So, like, eventually, I think
despite his smoking hot Asian wife.
Yes, despite his smoking hot Asian wife, who I can go out and say she's pretty smoking hot.
All right, well, good.
Yeah,
for you,
I've seen a few pictures online. She's not that bad.
All right, Carl Anderson did well for yourself.
But yeah, just like I think that it's
another bald guy with a beard.
Hey, it must be a thing. I'm gonna have to shave my head. Maybe I don't know.
Hey,
yeah, we'll
worth
see.
a shot.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I'll give a shout out to Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows or Doc Gallows or
two good guys.
Or whatever.
Yeah, whatever moniker you want to give them.
Yeah.
Now, were they the last guys you wanted to give a shout out to? Was there anybody else? All right, proceed.
Okay, so I mentioned Adam Cole earlier. I had this shirt on. Ring of Honor is something that I sort of picked up by accident, to at least the way that I'm remembering.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like, oh, this is on, and I started watching it. I think Derek might have mentioned something at some point, or you know what? It might have been you with this Jay Lethal shirt. Could
have been when we met the first time. You may have heard the story 2 weeks ago with Derek. we met at the Mick Foley Helium event.
Yeah, which was
at
great.
the meet and greet afterwards. They happened to be right in front of me in line, and I was wearing the Jay Lethal shirt because it has Mick Foley's name on here.
Yeah.
The first time I met Mick Foley, he popped because I wore my Legit Boss T-shirt.
Yeah.
Before everyone had them.
Yeah, he wore his Legit Boss shirt to the Nick's Roast Beef event.
Yeah,
the Matty Mill events with Payback. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I walked in, his manager saw it, and he said, "Make sure Mick sees that shirt." And I was like, "Well, obviously he's going to see it."
Yeah, I'm wearing it.
I can't hide it. So in line, we're probably like 5th or 6th in line, and he saw the Legit Boss shirt, and he called me up. He said, "Now, if that's not pandering, I don't know what is." And nobody appreciates pandering more than Mick Foley because he made a career out of it.
Yeah.
So I got a cheap pop from Foley, and my friends Aaron and Eric were with me, the suspended Eric Trembicki. He signed all of our stuff, and he just starts telling us all kinds of stories. We were with him for like 15 or 20 minutes, which was cool. I felt bad for some of the other people in line, but I was like, this is cool. Like, I was like, I'm glad
they had the opportunity.
Yeah, I was like, I'm glad I wore this shirt. And, eventually I was like to a point where I was like, I don't want to monopolize any more of your time. Can we get a picture real quick, with the Legit Boss T-shirt? Sasha should see it or whatever. And he was like, yeah. He goes, yeah. And he goes, I want to get a picture of this on my phone too.
Boom. He has it.
He handed his phone to somebody in line. He puts his arm around me and takes the picture. He looks at it. He goes, oh, it's all crumpled up because he was like leaning across. So it was like all bunched up. He goes, oh, you can't see it. He goes, all right, let's take one more picture. I'll stretch that bad boy out. So he reached around me and like held the shirt up like this. If you look on our Matt Madness Facebook page, you can see the picture so you could read it. And he's pointing at it. And I was like, how cool is that? Like Mick Foley took a picture of me on his phone.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe no one else saw it.
Yeah, and then
well, and after that, you were probably looking like.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Oh,
that is
dude.
Exactly
oh man. If you have the opportunity to like go on YouTube and find some of that Carl Anderson Bullet Club versus the Kingdom.
Well, I will. I'm glad that you mentioned it.
It's
dude,
so funny.
He does like this weird, like, cause like he does like this weird, like Spanish kind of like crooning. Oh, it's hilarious.
Well, now I need. To
I wish they would let him do it here.
I was gonna say I haven't seen that level of personality. Or
no,
exactly,
out of him yet,
exactly. So no, I interrupted, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Back to Adam. Yeah. So back to Adam Cole. I started watching, and I guess it was around this time. Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole were tag team known as Future Shock. Pretty entertaining. Both guys are really good wrestlers. Adam Cole eventually turns on Kyle O'Reilly, and they kind of go their separate ways. It was really interesting. They had a couple matches, I think, fall out from that. And then I think Adam Cole might have got hurt at some point. Because he just came back, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I should know, because I like Adam Cole, but I don't.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, so he comes back at the Global Wars pay-per-view. I guess it was in June. June? Maybe May. May or June with the Bullet Club alongside the Young Bucks, and they have the whole super kick party. I don't know. I don't know if you've actually seen like the end of Global Wars. Mr. Wrestling 3 has a super kick ticker, and it's at the bottom corner of the screen, and they're going to do because I think the main event might have been the Bucks were going for I think a tag title, and they were going to have the ticker up, and I don't think they threw a super kick. And Mr. Wrestling 3 was so upset that there wasn't any super kicks or anything. That's their whole shit.
Yeah.
Then you get to the main event with Cabana and Lethal, which we will be fortunate enough to see tonight at the Aftershock tapings over at 2300.
Why I actually brought out anyone who watches the show regularly, I always have all WWE belts. But because they'll be watching the show at the former ECW arena, I brought the old ECW World Heavyweight Championship and then the Ring of Honor World Championship and Television Championship. So, Russ, you were the first person. I've been asked to bring these before.
Oh, really?
You were the first person that got these to get broken out on the show.
It's an honor. Absolutely. I'm really excited about tonight. Like I said, so Lethal and Cabana, we'll get to see them again tonight. They were also the main event for Global Wars. Ended in a no contest. Lights go out. Bullet Club was supposed to be getting a new member. Is it going to be Lethal? Is it Cabana? Here comes Adam Cole. It was beautiful. I think they might.
How much did you mark out for that?
Well, I mean, he wasn't there.
Okay.
I was in my room, and I'm like, oh my god, who's it going to be? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And then you throw up the Adam Cole thing. It was so. I'm really excited to see.
In your wildest dreams, did you think it could be Adam Cole?
Yeah, I mean, he hadn't been around.
So you were a little bit prepared for it, but still.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously,
I
I don't think you're gonna have your champ at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, be the Bullet Club. Cabana's not around often enough. So
yeah.
when they came out with the 2 T-shirts, I don't. It had to be someone from the back. So you know, who was it gonna be? And I think they proceeded to throw up like 50 super kicks or something. So the ticker was rolling, and you know.
So it was a big super kick party.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, like I said before, I think he and Kevin Owens would have great timing as heels. I'm really excited to see what he has to do, and I think he will end up being the guy to take the belt from Lethal at some point in time. I don't know if it's going to be the next pay-per-view or down the road.
Yeah, Lethal.
We'll talk about
Lethal.
Past a year. We'll talk about that later because I want to talk about a little Ring of Honor. Stuff.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while, so I'm ready to get.
I mean, I'm not gonna spew a bunch of stuff out. I just want to hit a couple things on Ring of Honor, a couple more New Japan guys, and then move on to whatever you want to talk about.
Like I said, take your time.
Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Okay.
Him and Nakamura had a match at the Climax last year. It's probably my favorite match.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Like ever.
So that would have been my next question.
Yeah.
Was what's your favorite match of all
it's
time? Okay.
That's fine. Tanahashi. It's like 30 minutes long. The drama between the two. It's basically the G1 tournament for those not familiar. It's round robin.
Mm-hmm.
And the winner of each of the two blocks face off in a final. The winner of the final goes on to face whoever the IWGP Heavyweight Championship or champion holder at Wrestle Kingdom, which is the biggest New Japan event here in Tokyo.
Yes.
You could tell there was a lot on the line in the match. Both guys are working their asses off to pull it off. 30 minutes. The final 5 minutes are the most nail-biting I've experienced.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
And that doesn't happen often enough, so it's great when it does.
Yeah, and this is something that it happened, I guess, last year, because the G126 is this year. I think it actually starts this coming week. So yeah, it was last year. They showed it on Access TV, I think, a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So I had the opportunity to watch it again. Probably watched it like 3 or 4 times since. Actually, I love it. Like I said, the finish to the match is very.
So now, did you have a rooting interest in the match, and that's where the biting your nails came from, or was it just you were just that invested in the match, no matter which way?
The match in general, it was really exciting because it was like, okay, who's going to win and go to face? I think it must be Okada.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that time. Yeah, it made me fans of both of them. Tanahashi's another guy who probably one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's put himself through so much. He's been with New Japan. He's the John Cena of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Been with the company for as long as I know of, which is very long, I guess. But no, I have seen a bad match of his. He's also like I said, one of the best in ring, and I think he might have gone on record saying that AJ Styles is the best person he's worked with in the ring before. They also have great matches too. Yeah. You can always go back and watch Styles and Tanahashi as well. Tanahashi was supposed to have a match with another person that I had on my list, is Kenny Omega. They were supposed to have a ladder match. Unfortunately, Tanahashi couldn't compete. I guess his neck or shoulder was bothering him. He wasn't going to wrestle. Michael Elgin stepped in, who is kind of the protege of Tanahashi. He also was working with Ring of Honor a lot. They had a good match, but I was really, really excited for Kenny Omega versus Tanahashi. You don't like Kenny Omega?
No, I like Omega. I don't like Elgin.
You don't like Big Mike? Big Mike's okay. I don't have anything wrong.
I've seen Mike Elgin wrestle 4 times live. He's botched every single
time.
He's got a perfect botch rate.
Okay.
Perfect 4 for 4 on live.
Well, I don't know if he's going to be there tonight, but I might have to let him know that you got some beef with him.
That's fine.
No, I don't have any
crowd usually has beef.
But to Derek,
you won't be the only one.
Yeah.
Derek did say that he didn't have I think they did have a botch on live.
Okay.
But whatever. But yeah, Kenny Omega is super entertaining. This whole cleaner thing is just hysterical. One of the more recent Ring of Honor TV shows that they had, the Bucks threw a banana peel on the ground.
Okay.
And I think right after they super kicked whoever Omega was fighting, and the ref comes over and looks at it and he's like, "What? He slipped on his banana peel." And then Omega comes around and grabs his broom and cleans up the outside of the ring.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That and his finisher, the One Wing Angel, it's crazy.
Yes.
It's kind of like the cradle and then straight the driver.
Yeah.
One of the more dangerous looking.
Yes.
Which I think we'll talk about that too later. As far as cradle, fisherman buster.
Yeah, we will get into that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then Shibata and Naito. Shibata is one of those shoot style guys. He does this corner basement drop kick thing. It looks like it fucking hurts.
Yeah.
He kind of makes you cringe, thinking how could anyone stand in the ring with this guy and take him on for 10 to 15 minutes. He's a guy and then Naito, he's doing this whole tranquilo thing. He had the title for a little bit, and he was just throwing the title around. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, yeah. So those are my favorite. I have a lot more, but I don't want to take up so much of your time.
Well, you did a good job. You got a lot of guys in. One thing now so Derek mentioned to me when he was on that you were a newer fan.
Yeah.
So I think it's really fascinating. I thought it was going to be fascinating anyway, talking to someone who started watching recently and is right now going back and watching a lot of the stuff we saw years ago. I did not expect that you were going to be so versed in New Japan, which I think is very cool.
Yeah, Derek, I don't think is so much into New Japan. I mean, you know where it is, you know of it.
I've watched it. When I mentioned on the first podcast when I sat in with you that you surprised me and you impressed me with the stuff that you texted me and stuff like that. That's mainly what I was talking about.
The New Japan stuff?
I'm really a WWE, NXT, Ring of Honor kind of guy. I watch Lucha Underground. I wish I had more time. We talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it on the way up here.
I wish I had more time to watch and catch up completely on Lucha Underground. I love that style, so I would love to watch more of that. And New Japan with Access Television, again, another thing I wish I had more time to watch. It's just there's only so many hours in the day, and I devote it more towards Ring of Honor, WWE, and NXT.
I mean, that's why I don't really watch Ring of Honor anymore. I just don't have the time. With all the WWE programming I have to watch for writing and doing the show,
well,
it's like I had to sacrifice.
That's with me now, too.
Yeah, with the
doing writing and doing the show.
Yeah, so you just started writing, what, 2 weeks ago?
I just started writing with Rope Break about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I have a couple articles up there, just posted 2 today. And yeah, I've been doing the What's NXT show.
Yes, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah. Thank you.
If you guys follow Derek on Twitter and Facebook, he should have both of those links up. So give Derek some love.
Yeah, What's NXT? Very enjoyable show. The one I watched last night was right around 30 minutes. Was that what the first one was?
They usually go around 25 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
And by usually, I mean there's been 2.
Yeah.
All 2 episodes have been under 30 minutes.
Both of them.
And they both go that long.
So we have a trend going at least.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I think it's cool that because I would assume most people that are just getting into it are like all WWE.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that you're spread out a little bit as a fan. Yeah.
He had mentioned Lucha Underground. I watched a little bit of Lucha Underground. I really wish I could just sit down and watch time.
Yeah, I've never seen
dedicate the time to watching it.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. Never.
Wow.
I've heard good stuff about it.
I'll give you one to watch.
All right.
Okay. It's a triple threat match from season 1.
Who is it?
Drago, Phoenix, and Pentagon Jr.
Phoenix is that boy.
Phoenix is that boy. Side story: Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. I think are real life brothers.
Okay.
So they have like this trust within each other to do some of the stuff that they do that not everyone else
would
be willing to do. Maybe the Usos.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the Usos.
If they ever broke the Usos, which would be the worst idea ever.
Yeah. I don't know what you do after that.
Without each other, they have nothing.
They go to the Independents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch the 3-way dance or whatever they call it. Triple threat.
I got it, sir. I wrote it down. I got it circled.
It's one of the best paced triple threat matches I've seen. It may or may not be single digits as far as minutes go. Yeah. It's very interesting. The finish is probably one of my favorite finishes that I've seen in the past year.
It's what you would imagine the inside of a beehive would look like.
Yeah. If they wrestled in a beehive. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so I'll take that as my homework.
Definitely watch it, and then you can talk to the fans next week about. I mean, if you want.
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I'm not against promoting anything else or talking about anything else. I just haven't had the time to get into it. So.
Yeah. Pentagon Jr. Another shout out to Pentagon Jr. He's one of my favorites. Not that I watch it a lot, but you'll see.
I will.
Cerro Miedo, exactly. No fear. So back to what you're saying about being a new fan.
Oh yeah, I just think it's cool that you're watching as much different product as possible because it's not all exactly the same.
No.
And it takes a lot to get to know guys in a different promotion. Yeah. Like it's not easy to jump in.
Yeah, a lot of WWE is where it started. Most of it just comes with keep watching and eventually you pick up on guys' nuances and things like that. Most of the stuff that I like, Shawn Michaels obviously, you'll hear about Shawn Michaels at least once, and then it's like, okay, I have this entire catalog of things to go watch. Yeah. I'm gonna go watch it. Recommendations from him, other people. Eventually, you get to watch certain matches against Undertaker. Jericho, he had the one a good few. Jericho was 19. He's had some, too many to the list.
Right.
But those are some of my personal. But yeah, so basically, it's like find a guy. I like this guy. Let me watch some of their matches and learn from there. Eventually,
Yeah,
you get
you can learn about other guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like Chris Jericho, I knew who Chris Jericho was or whatever. But watching him in HBK, then okay, I can watch more Jericho, and I kind of went through that way. He'll be on this list of favorite matches that we hopefully will talk about eventually. If
we can jump to it right now.
Okay, yeah. So, like I was saying, Shawn versus Taker, both matches. I have a couple on here, and I don't want. I'm going to be different for the sake of being different. Like a lot of people have that as their favorite match of all time. A lot of people have HBK versus Ric Flair, the retirement match, as one of their favorites of all time. I think the finish to that match, the I'm Sorry, I Love You, is one of the most emotional finishes that I've seen as far as watching.
Yeah, you can see Rick crying as he.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm just sitting there like.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need to see more of this Carl Anderson.
Yeah, his personality. His personality.
It's so funny. Like, not to cut in, but here you go. Here's a gif of it.
And like she's just like roping him in.
Yeah, he's just powerless against it.
Oh man.
His captions on those tweeted images are just like she tags her in just a bunch of hearts.
Social media. Oh, I love it.
It is great.
And then another one of the matches I've heard thrown around a lot is Cena versus CM Punk. This is the first CM Punk name drop I think that we've had on the podcast.
Yeah.
Initially, I really didn't have any clue who CM Punk was because he's so differentiated from himself, and Vince has said, okay, you want to be bitter or whatever, we'll just not talk about you anymore. So Derek, I know, is a CM Punk fan. I think we hung out one time and he had the Best in the World shirt on. I was like, oh, we got it.
If you ask Ron, I stole his moniker.
Nothing wrong with stealing a moniker, though. Yeah.
So yeah, I got to see CM Punk a little bit, and then one of the matches that, like I said, Cena and Punk. For me personally, I think that if you want to have someone new come onto the product, I think that their match at Money in the Bank is one of the most accessible matches as far as story and then in-ring work.
The video package.
Exactly, you have the video package that tells you everything that you need to know. If Punk wins this title, he's walking out of the building with the title.
Yeah, there's like real stakes.
Yes,
set.
like that's believable.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things waver on the fantasy reality.
Yeah.
That's something that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
As you've seen, historically, it's happened before.
Yeah.
But like I said, those matches I've seen on a lot of people's, greatest matches list. Yeah, we've seen them. They're great. I love them. But I had two, because I talked about Tanahashi and Nakamura at G1 from last year. There's a couple more on here that I just wanted to throw into that I really like. Yeah. One of which being is Mick Foley, Edge, and Lita versus Terry Funk, Tommy Dreamer, and Beulah McGillicuddy.
So I like this already.
From ECW One Night Stand 2006. This was kind of my introduction to ECW. I really didn't have any. I knew what I've heard of it, but I never actually got to watch any of it. So seeing a guy like Terry Funk, who probably at the time was 80, I don't know how old Terry Funk is, but I know he's old as hell.
Yeah.
Seeing him and Foley go at it on the outside, and I think Foley gets him with the barbed wire, and Terry Funk goes into the back. I guess he has to be, like stitched up or whatever. Eventually, he comes back down to the ring. The crowd goes nuts. Edge is another guy I probably should have put, not just maybe on my list of favorite guys that I've had. Going back and watching it as a heel,
he was awesome.
The rated R superstar. I just really like this match. It was a hardcore intergender match. I just really like it. There's not. It's one of those you have to see it for yourself kind of things. The finish to the match when he spears the ever living shit out of Beulah McGillicuddy is crazy, and he also goes into the rated R pin. Which you have to see. It's pretty suggestive. But yeah, I really like that match, and I think there's a lot to be had there. There's fire.
All right. See, I was not watching it this time, so I'll put this.
But I say, I know you love Foley, so I mean, there's fire, dude.
Yeah, he's on one of
I'm
my
pretty
faves.
sure it's fire.
It's fire.
Oh, it is fire. Yeah, 06. There was an 05 too, I think.
Okay.
There wasn't a 5?
It's the same show where Cena loses the belt
to RVD.
Okay.
Because
if you were to watch the whole pay-per-view, there's other stuff to happen. I think Sabu and Sandman might have and Sandman might have had a match on this pay-per-view. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm trying to flex my muscles over here. But it's
you're asking me to recall
a match that happened
So
10 years ago.
ECW pay-per-views, and I just can't.
Okay. Well, I'll stop trying to flex my not as strong.
Again,
as
you're allowed to flex as much as you want.
Okay. The other match that I put on here that I wanted to talk about a little bit, we talked about Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
This match, I don't really think, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a 5-star match that some people would rate like that. But it's the Cruiserweight Battle Royal from Slamboree 1998.
Wow.
And the ensuing title match for the Cruiserweight Championship. I just think that the way that the Battle Royal was worked and the finish of the Battle Royal, where you have Juventud Guerrera and Ciclope in the ring together, and they like look at each other, they shake hands, and Hoovy just jumps out of the ring, and he's like, giving him like the nice. And the crowd's like, what the hell is going on? I think commentary is like, what the hell? The next thing you know, he goes and pulls back the mask, and it's Dean Malenko. It's probably one of the loudest pops I've heard on pay-per-view. And like just Jericho is stunned. He can't believe that his nemesis is standing in the ring. He has to face him in a match, and I think Malenko ends up winning the title that night, the Cruiserweight title, I think it was. But yeah, Jericho also does the announcing of all the participants in the Battle Royal. Just stinks everybody
as only
up.
Jericho can.
Yeah, as only Chris Jericho can do. Longevity, one of the better wrestlers. I think he's probably wrestled for 20 or 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily in WWE, but I know that I've been reading his book. He went to Japan,
I think he's 20 years.
As a whole,
I think he's 20 years.
From starting out on the outskirts of Winnipeg to where he is right now. I mean, you're talking about he's pushing 2 decades.
Yeah, and he can still do a line soul.
I think he's 20 years on TV wrestling because he's
99?
He debuted in 99.
Yeah.
But he might have been wrestling easily around 24, 25 years at this point.
That's what I think.
Because he didn't get on TV like that.
No, he was in WCW for at least 3 years.
He was in Mexico for a while with Art Bar, Eddie.
Yeah.
And
Benoit was also there.
Yeah, Pegasus Kid.
Am I allowed to say Benoit?
Wow.
Benoit.
Yeah. On this show, you're allowed to say Benoit. I haven't erased him from existence.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I never will.
It's kind of hard to erase one of the greatest technical wrestlers.
Yeah. Did he do some deplorable things? Of course.
Absolutely.
But in a wrestling context, there's no reason not to show him or talk about him, in my opinion.
Obviously he won't be in the Hall of Fame. And
Correct.
I understand that. But yeah, definitely can't put down what he did. As a smaller guy compared to
he was great. One of the greatest of all time. Yeah, but Jericho, unbelievable. One of my not on my Mount Rushmore, but he's close.
I know you love to drink it in every.
Yeah, I do. It's my favorite current thing. Drink it in, man.
Oh yeah.
I wait for it. Like I can when he's building to it. Like I'm like sitting there, like getting closer to the edge of my chair, waiting for him to just say it. Yeah,
I mean, gift. You should be.
It is, exactly. I'm always ready to unwrap that gift.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time.
There's so many scarves over it,
though. Yeah. Did you guys like the buttered popcorn on the scarf on SmackDown from Kevin Owens?
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
I liked it that Owens is willing to embrace the fat guy thing.
Yeah.
He had the Jolly Rancher in his pocket when he took out the change.
Well, because with him, I mean, it's laughable that anybody would pull that card anyway because it's such a shallow.
Yeah, that pissed me off when we were at that Raw in December.
It's such a shallow, baseless insult to throw towards a guy who very clearly is more athletic than you.
Almost anyone
anybody
else
in the crowd. Yeah.
The dude who's calling him fat may be skinnier than him, but he can't do any of the stuff that Owens can do.
Yeah, that really upset me as like a newer fan because I'm a big guy myself. I have a certain affinity for Kevin Owens, being a big guy. But yeah, like I don't get it. There's no when you're putting your body on the line every night for someone's enjoyment. There's no sense in fat shaming them or any other sort of derogatory insults.
Not to mention, he's not the first guy to not be jacked.
No, Vader.
Among many others, people love Mick Foley.
Yeah, it's not a new phenomenon. It's not he's not the first guy.
Started on this podcast and then went and wrestled at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
He would look exactly like just somebody who was in this room with us right now.
Exactly.
He's not jacked. He's not overly muscular. He's Mick Foley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dusty Rhodes would be another one.
Yeah.
Son of a plumber.
Yeah, fatter than Kevin Owens is.
Yeah. Dusty Rhodes was certifiably fat,
mm-hmm.
but he was so charismatic and got over with people because he was just like you. He was just like everybody.
Yeah, part of the thing I had said Vader, but that whole
Vader was big.
Yeah, Vader's a big guy. He can pull off a moonsault.
Mm-hmm.
So
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah,
he did moonsault. His finishing move was Greetings from Asbury Park. It was a top rope headbutt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a plus 300-pound guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not
There's
the
still
first
hope
guy.
for Braun Strowman.
Yeah, you're right.
Still hope. He did lose a little bit of weight, and in the compound video, he looked pretty good.
Physique looked a little better.
Him and then Rusev as
well.
I had said that earlier.
He's used to wearing all that.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, just take the straps off. He looked, they oiled him up, and he looked like a big.
Just let him wrestle shirtless if you really want people to stop calling him fat.
Show
he's
people
ripped.
The guy is ripped.
He's ripped. He's got a big forehead, but other than that, I don't think I can complain.
Manning-esque.
Manning-esque. It is Peyton Manning-esque, except no chafe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually a good call.
No helmet burn either.
Yeah. So I'm gonna refer to your notes because you got way more notes than I do.
Well, I don't have too much.
Well, I just wanted to
These
see.
are things that I thought that you would want to talk about. I probably should have texted you beforehand.
That's fine. I had things that I wanted to discuss.
Russ figured he was going to host.
I mean,
I'm coming in and guest hosting the show today.
You're the moderator.
Yeah,
Derek's going to chime whenever the hell he feels like it.
I'm just the peanut gallery.
So I guess let's talk about the most recent thing that is on everybody's plate. It's Cruiserweight Classic.
Right.
I actually went ahead and watched that first episode last night. I had some stuff going on Wednesday.
Yeah, I watched last night as well.
First thing I did, I don't know if it was the first thing I did. Texted him. I was really impressed by Alejandro's size.
Yeah, he was good.
He's 6'1". He cut 30 pounds or whatever to come wrestle. I think he's hitting that 205 mark.
From the pro wrestling hotbed of Chile.
Yeah. That's another
Daniel
thing.
Bryan even said that. I don't know if you watched the bracketology show where Daniel Bryan said, I don't even know what they're doing down in Chile. Him and I think, what was it, Ho Ho Lun from China. Those are markets that I didn't even know there was professional wrestling in. Yeah.
And I think they might have said that Ho Ho Lun started his local promotion, which I thought was really cool that they're bringing in guys that not only have, the size and the ability to wrestle, but also guys that, kind of did their own thing where they were at, brought wrestling to the forefront as far as sports entertainment goes, and are translating
it's like
that
a good
over
reward.
Here. Yeah, absolutely.
For like increasing the, the reach of pro wrestling.
I do want to throw something in here.
Yeah.
Since I'll be the peanut gallery and just toss something in. Ho Ho Lun's a great story, but I think they really wasted a spot on not letting Ari and Davari.
That was a note I had taken. Was I would have rather seen Davari win,
especially as he seems to be playing the heel, Davari.
Oh, well, he embraces it the way that his brother did.
Yeah,
where it was just okay. I know I'm of Muslim descent. You're going to hate me because this is America.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come out and I'm going to get as many jeers as I can. He doesn't shake Ho Ho Lun's hand before the match starts. And he worked a great match, and I thought the finish kind of was
Yeah, that match.
He beats him with a German suplex.
Yeah, the bridging
with
German.
The bridging German.
The bridge, but
yeah.
I mean, still, it felt weak. It didn't feel like Davari should have lost that match.
That match, I think, on this first episode was definitely a clear-cut number 4.
Yeah.
As far as
it was, and that was the one match where I just questioned the finish. I guess I know why they did it because they want to keep the guy from China.
Yeah, that's
involved.
There's billion people.
Yeah, so I get why they did it.
They signed with Bin Wong. I think they signed a guy. Developmental contract from China. So yeah, I understand where they're coming from as far as the company. But yeah, Ho Ho Lun was okay.
So what kind of expectations did you have for the Cruiserweight Classic?
Well, for it being the WWE Cruiserweight Classic, I had a certain expectation that it would be super scripted kind of stuff, and it really isn't.
No.
One of the best things about it is I think that you have Mauro Ranallo and Daniel Bryan on commentary, and they just feel so natural chemistry together. When Sias did the shooting star press to the outside,
that was awesome
in stereo. Shooting star press. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan was I thought fantastic on commentary. Like the stuff he adds.
Yeah, because he wrestled. You know what I mean?
He wrestled. He was a smaller guy.
Yeah, it's perfect.
He wrestled some of these guys that are in this tournament. Like he's got a lot of experience with it. And not many people in the business love the business of wrestling more than that guy.
Yeah.
And it comes across.
Yeah, and like you can tell he wants to be there.
What does he know about managing generally?
What does he know about managing generally? Yeah, that I don't know. This may have been something.
As in, what's his general manager pedigree? Because that man.
I don't know, but
that's true. I think you guys talked about that on the most recent episode of Matt
think,
Madness. I think that's going to be. I think the leak is probably going to be something true.
You think so? Do you think that as well?
That man needs to be on SmackDown.
I think he does
dynamic
too.
between him and Stephanie being the GM of Raw would be fantastic
It
because
would
they
be.
already have natural heat and history of not liking each other, so the brand feud would feel legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
An actual feud.
Brian doesn't want to lose to Daddy's little girl.
Yeah.
He
That,
knows
I
what
think-
wrestling's about.
I think
And-
Shane is eventually going to take a step back and, go back to doing what
Yeah,
he
he's
is.
not
I don't
gonna
think he's
be-
going to be on here forever. But I
Me
think
neither.
having Daniel Bryan as the general manager of your brand is pretty exciting.
It is, and people love him. People miss him being there.
Yeah.
People wanted to get the opportunity to keep cheering for him, and it was taken away. So it's a way to keep him.
Yeah, and I mean, if he's backing up anybody or supporting anybody on the current roster,
Mhm.
it's easy to believe that the fans would also be able to
Yeah, he's a great
easier
rub.
get behind. Yeah, a
Mhm.
good rub, exactly.
Yeah, so the Cruiserweight Classic, Daniel Bryan, great on commentary.
Absolutely.
Mauro Ranallo,
Phenomenal.
great on
phenomenal
commentary.
as
Yes.
well.
Perfect.
AJ Styles.
Yeah, perfect tandem on commentary. The one disappointment I would have, and this is probably a nitpick, is that first match 4 minutes, second
time-
match
Time
5
is a
minutes.
big thing.
Yeah, they had 52 minutes, and only the one match went over 10.
Ibushi, you mean?
Ibushi got, I think that match
That match was really good.
yeah, that match I had it written down. That match got exactly 10 minutes.
Okay.
Each match, it was 4 minutes 20 seconds, 5 minutes 15 seconds,
So
7 minutes
time
and
was
10.
your big nitpick.
Yeah, because I think, especially with one of the things they hyped was the idea that cruiserweights are not just guys who do flips. They're just guys who are under a certain weight,
Yeah, size.
and they can
That's
have
it.
any style.
Yeah.
And if you're really putting out there these clashing styles, another AJ Styles, but you give them more time to show it a little bit. Now,
Yeah.
I know that there needed to be some time for talking and the promotional
and
packages
for
and things
your
like
golden
that.
star.
Yes,
You know.
yeah, he needed a little more time. And I guess I'm going to contradict myself also, but
That's okay.
I do
It's
think
your
it
show.
was.
You
Yeah,
should
I
know
do
you
think the promo packages for each guy were necessary.
Necessary.
Yeah, because
okay.
you do need to.
That was a little contradictory.
Yeah, you do need to let these
Yeah,
let the
absolutely.
fans know watching who they are, where they come from. It's not really so much heel versus babyface
No.
because nobody knows.
It's man versus man.
Yeah, and
isn't
you're-
it kind of crazy how it works when you actually tell people who people are and why
Right?
they're there and
Yeah.
what they believe in.
It is crazy.
Yeah, I mean NXT
Hint,
for a
hint.
little bit.
Yeah.
NXT for a
Vignettes
little
still
bit.
work.
Yeah.
NXT did the debut vignettes for Apollo Crews, and that was
Mhm.
kind of cool. You know,
Yeah.
seeing his family and where he came from.
Mhm.
I wish they kept with it because right now it's super boring
Mhm.
and it sucks because he's super athletic and standing moonsault's really cool.
Yeah.
that he can do as a bigger guy.
Yeah. There's so
Um,
many things he can do in
yeah.
the ring, and they just
Again,
have not.
potential.
They haven't given him
It's
a
the same kind of thing
character
with
to
Dana
work
Brooke,
with.
just the smiling
Apollo.
sidekick. Yeah.
Yeah. But aside from the time of the matches, which, like I said, they had a certain amount of time to work with, you can't devote it just to the matches. The action was great.
Oh yeah.
You definitely got the sense of the different styles these guys
Uh-huh.
had. You got to know who they were a little bit. And I assume now the next round you may not have to introduce them as much, or you may
No,
get
yeah,
more
you
time.
would. Yeah, you would hope that would be the logical progression, that they would stop doing the promo stuff and saying, "Oh, this guy versus this guy."
Yeah, and it is cool to me to get just introduced to these guys. Like, the only guy I had ever seen before was Cedric Alexander.
Yeah,
I don't
not
think I
even
had
Ibushi.
Yeah, I hadn't seen Ibushi.
Ibushi's. He's
I was very
quite,
impressed.
Quite the specimen
Yeah, now who of the 8 contestants
that I saw.
that you saw last night were you familiar with already?
Cedric Alexander, obviously, watched a little bit of Ring of Honor. Him and
Mhm.
Veda Scott worked together. That was pretty cool. Ibushi, I'd seen some of in New Japan. That was also another person I've seen. Who else did we have? We had Grand Metalik, I had seen. Size, I
Malik,
hadn't seen.
Size,
No, just those
Loon,
two guys.
Davari, and Clement Pichu,
Yeah, just
and
the two.
Maluda.
Yeah, just the two, Ibushi and Cedric Alexander. So those are the two I were familiar with.
Okay, so I assume the two you were familiar with lived up to your expectation of what they
Yeah,
did.
I think Cedric Alexander is a guy who gives it everything he's got, and I think that people are really going to turn on to him. Obviously, you can see the crowd pop for him.
Mhm.
They know who he is.
Yeah.
I think he could have a future with this company if they, depending on how they move forward. I think in the second round, I think he's up against Ibushi.
Yeah, so
I think. I
assume-
mean, they already had that match, and
Yeah.
Ibushi seems to be the favorite to win
Yes.
it all. So, I've heard some rumblings on dirt sheets. I know Aaron is also a big fan of checking
he
the
is.
dirt sheets. Some of the reaction from Alexander and Ibushi was very positive.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing the match for myself.
I can't wait to see that.
And hopefully what it would hold for both of them in the company. I think I told him this on the way here. Pro Wrestling Torch had reported that Ibushi was officially signed to NXT. Obviously, it's a rumor.
Yeah.
I don't know how true it is, so we'll see.
I heard that as well.
Also, Grand Metalik.
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, Grand Metalik. He's
Mascara Dorada?
Yeah.
That's his name for real?
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
Are you sure?
Mascara Dorado.
That's what it's. That's the thing I saw.
Yeah,
You're gonna make me
but
pull it
he's
up?
competing under the name Grand Metalik.
Okay. You're gonna make me check now.
Yeah, the CWC.
Because now I feel like a fucking idiot.
Well, yeah.
Speaking
I
of Grand
Metalik,
Metalik, the Cradle, Michinoku,
Yes.
Fisherman Buster, whatever you want, that was crazy.
Very dope.
it was, and
It's like, wait, where did his head go?
I
You know,
know.
it's like the instant panic that
Yeah.
sets in, and that instant panic incites the reaction that you want to have
Mhm.
for a move.
and that's why I rail against the Michinoku driver every time somebody does it.
You know what Michinoku driver?
It's not that I don't like it; it's that
Luke Harper's Michinoku driver.
yeah, it's that I feel like if you're so concerned about guys' heads and necks,
Why are you letting
them do that?
that is a move that if
Curb stomp's not allowed.
that's where I was going with it. If
Yeah.
the curb stomp is banned, why should you be able to do a move that where your head and neck are at risk every single time you do it? And you're right, where when you see it, your reaction is always like, "Oh my
Shit,
god!"
where did
that
your
person had to get hurt.
exactly?
But so it generates that reaction. My thing is, if you're trying to protect these guys, pile driver, nobody does it in WWE anymore.
Besides Undertaker.
Well,
Or you mean a
that's-
pile driver.
A
You mean
pile
a gut
driver,
wrench.
yeah. Because
Unless you see him pump.
yeah, you're not supposed to be doing it because somebody broke their neck doing it. And it's
Update, it is Grand Metalik.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So-
Well, I'm glad.
I was just saying it.
I'm glad. I just wanted to make sure because now I feel like a
I
fucking
wasn't
idiot.
over here like, yeah.
No, but yeah, it's exciting.
So of the 6 guys you weren't familiar with, who was there
impressed
any
me?
one that jumped out at you and impressed you the most? We already know it wasn't Ho Ho Loon.
No, he was okay. Well, I mean, Grand Metalik probably the most.
Yeah,
I
he
guess.
was great.
He was really good. That Pitou, I think he was alright too. He kind of reminded me of Cesaro a little bit. Kind of had that
Mhm.
French European kind of thing going on.
Lance Storm.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was, he was
that
jacked.
I thought was cool. I like that storm.
It was cool.
LTS.
I think I liked Davari the most out of the guys.
Yeah,
I did not know.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he had a good style. He had a good mix. He's didn't look small. I guess because he's in the ring with a smaller guy.
Yeah. Well, Ho Ho Loon was a stick.
Very small.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ho Ho Loon was very thin.
He seems like some jump. Like he gave him some jumping beans before the
Mhm.
match.
Yeah.
and he comes out of the tunnel.
Yeah, he had a good look. I felt like he had a good arsenal of offense. I thought that he showed a lot of promise to me.
Yeah, that was a big surprise to me because when I saw the match on paper and when I saw the 2 combatants, now granted the whole tournament's about the idea that anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a clean win for Davari.
So did I.
Going into it, so when he lost, I was just like, all right.
Yeah, again, I knew why,
Yeah.
and I suspected that that's what would happen, but I did feel like that was the one result that should have gone the other way.
Yeah.
Do you think so? Of the 4 winners, who do you think is the most likely to win? I know what you're going to say, but
Yeah, Ibushi.
yeah.
I mean, he seems to be him and Zack Sabre Jr. seem to be on a collision course for the final.
Yeah, Russ, you want to share your thoughts on when the
Oh,
final
I'm getting to that. I'm getting
Okay.
to that. Relax. You're gonna let me. I got
It's
this.
just a logical
So
transition.
logical. So we've been having the taping. They've just taped round 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have a couple. I think the next 3 weeks of round 2 or round 1, and you'll have a couple weeks of round 2.
Mhm.
That puts us, I think, somewhere around August 20th, maybe. I may be
Oh,
wrong.
yeah?
I may be wrong, but I would really, really, really like to see the final on the takeover card.
That
Partly
would be
because
awesome.
partly because we will be there.
Yeah, I'm not going to get to go this year. I was there last year.
Well, that's good.
I'll be at SummerSlam.
No, that's good too.
But that would be awesome if that was on.
Yeah,
I
like
think we're looking at Sabre versus Ibushi.
Yeah, and I mean
Be
that.
awesome
Like I
match.
said, they're on a collision course. They're on opposite ends of the bracket for a reason. We all know how the brackets work. You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's pretty clear cut. I think that's what we're working to. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of good matches in the meantime. Like we said, Ibushi and Alexander, I think are going to have a really good match in a couple weeks when we get to see that. A couple other guys that I put on here as far as notable participants for me: Rich Swann, who we've seen on NXT. I think
I like
his
Rich Swann.
story about his
Mhm.
parents and I think being homeless, or
Yeah.
I mean, he might have been homeless for a period of time, or
Mhm.
lost his way, and wrestling, made him come back. I think he's super entertaining.
Yeah.
He comes out. I think he might come out to All Night Long by Lionel Richie. I don't know if I made that up or not.
I don't remember, but
no,
I do know.
Maybe
he
they might have
dances.
chanted. They might have chanted All Night Long.
He's the most charismatic performer in the company that no one knows about.
Yes.
He's so ridiculously over when he comes out to the crowd. It's nuts that he hasn't hit it big.
I know. I don't know
Hey,
why.
we'll see.
I mean,
Couple
maybe
weeks. We'll see. We'll see
get
how that
another
match
chance
comes
to
out.
impress a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think he deserves it. Obviously,
He's also
Yeah.
Enzo Amore's pick to win the whole thing.
No, really?
Yeah.
Hey, we'll
That's
see.
pretty funny.
We'll see. I haven't actually looked at the bracket since
Me
the
neither.
bracketology, but obviously half of the Final Four would be Ibushi and Zack Sabre
Mhm.
Jr. I'm not sure who else is falling where, but I
Yeah.
could see Rich Swann maybe making his way into the Final Four, depending on where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
Zack Sabre Jr. I had mentioned before, Ibushi, Cedric. Man, I already mentioned all these.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give a shout out to Lince Dorado, which
Yeah.
we said about before. Yeah, I like the lucha style, and hopefully we'll have a good match.
How about Ciampa and Gargano
Oh, I kind of forgot they were in the thing.
facing each other? In
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
first
we're
round?
facing each other in the first round, and then obviously they can't both win.
Yeah,
Well,
who?
They can't both win, but I mean, they're both highly accomplished professional wrestlers.
I really
in their
like
own
Project
right.
Ciampa as a finisher.
Mhm.
It's really
Where
cool.
do you think that they will fall eventually in the tournament? Like, how far will they go? Because whoever wins,
They're already
still-
signed to NXT, to my knowledge.
They're already signed to NXT, but I would like to believe that they're going to allow them to go.
I don't know.
Because, I mean, I think the process was they want to get rid of one of the NXT guys right off the bat. And
Yeah.
just get either Ciampa or Gargano out. So
Well,
it's,
yeah, that
it's
makes
mainly
sense.
new blood.
Yeah.
I could see either one of them possibly making it past the field of 16. Depending on who their opponent is.
Yeah, I feel like Gargano. Do we know who won that match already?
You mean me, Dirt Sheet Boy?
Well, you don't have to tell me. I just was curious if we already know.
Yeah, we do know. I think we know both matches,
Okay.
meaning the two of them against each other, and then the winner of that match in the next match.
Because my prediction
think
was going to
those
be
spoilers are
Gargano
out.
was going to win, but it's not really much of a prediction. If I'm right, it's not much of a prediction. No, basically, if we already know who won, even that. Yeah, it's not much of a prediction if we already know, or at least it doesn't appear that way.
No.
Yeah.
People will
The,
think I'm pretending. I
the
don't
other
know.
spoilers were this past week, so I'll let you,
Okay.
if you happen to stumble across them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one of the few things. Like, spoilers don't bother me usually.
No,
But
He'll spoil fucking anything.
spoilers, I have no.
He won't even hit you with a spoiler tag to begin. He'll just lay it on you.
If it's been long
Batman
enough,
versus Superman, he
yeah,
ruined
if it's
that.
been long enough, especially like if it's a period of 2 weeks and you haven't seen something,
It's your
I
fault,
I
yes.
don't care.
You deserve that with
Yeah,
spoilers.
I'll just throw it.
It'll
right
it'll
at
teach you to stay on top of the stuff you're supposed
Yeah.
to be
I'll
watching.
try to be obscure with like Game of Thrones or something.
Yeah.
But if you get butthurt about it, just
Yeah, luckily I was caught up on that by the
Yeah,
time we
I
started
watch
talking
I
about
watch
it
enough
earlier.
Game of Thrones that I don't have to worry about
just unfriend me if that's the situation because I don't want to have that argument.
I watch it the night of because it is tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certain things it's tough to avoid.
So what I was
Spoilers.
going to
so.
say
Like
is
Monday?
spoilers
Yeah.
don't bother me, but for this tournament, I'm staying away from them.
Okay.
I'm very interested in just watching it.
Man,
organically.
hey, I can spoil stuff for him.
Yeah.
I'll let you know about that Gargano.
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be Gargano, and I think Gargano will last at least a couple rounds. Could be proven wrong. Obviously, wouldn't be the first time, but I think he's the guy that they would let make a
I
little
like
bit of a
Ciampa
run.
too, though. Nothing
Yeah,
nothing
I
against
like
Ciampa.
both of them.
Nothing
I
against
just
Ciampa, but yeah.
Gargano. This just seems like more of a tailor-made thing for him, to me, than Ciampa.
Yeah, but the last note that I had about the cruiserweight was hopefully we get to see the final. I mean, I don't know what their taping schedule is or when these. Well, you figure you have last week, this week, and then the next 2 weeks
Mhm.
after that. Then a couple weeks,
It makes sense
For
to
round
do
two,
it
yeah.
because it's a big.
especially if they're doing. I mean, you would assume that they would get more time, like you said.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a big thing. You want it on a big stage. Throw it out
No
there,
bigger
you know?
stage you can
Yeah.
put it on. than-
Especially-
either that or you could actually have it split up. If it doesn't make sense time wise, you could have 3 matches on the takeover card because you need to fill it out. Realistically, right now we have Asuka versus Bailey 2.
Oh, we'll get to that. I got NXT stuff coming out. Jeez.
All right, I'm just saying. You could have the 2 semifinal matches or the quarterfinal matches to get into that, and then you could have the finals and
Yeah.
the same thing.
which would be
That
a
would
lot
also
of
be
fun.
cool.
And it builds up the Iron Man status of both people.
Yeah.
I don't know how many matches usually. You said about 6 or 7 on a card usually for a 3-hour
6 or 7,
show.
but that's usual. I mean, there is no.
How long was
uniform-
Takeover last year? Takeover Brooklyn.
They did an hour of TV taping,
Oh.
and then the
Well, they could
show
do
is
that.
probably 2.5.
No, that wouldn't make any sense.
It might be taped. Oh no, I guess
No, because if you're gonna have the
it'll be
final
the week
show,
after,
yeah.
you're right. All right, yeah, there is a flaw in my logic right there.
So,
So you mentioned NXT.
yeah, that's where I want to go next.
This past week's episode was solely devoted, and
Well, there was
rightfully
a
so,
little bit of other stuff, but
yeah, but
forgettable.
to Shinsuke Nakamura and Finn Balor, a match everyone was looking forward
Oh
to.
yeah,
Derek is doing the
Too
too
Sweet
sweet gesture, which one of the highlights of the match for me. I love that he did that.
yes,
To
to
head.
the forehead.
Yeah. I love that he turned him around and then he gave him a taste of his own medicine. I love that Nakamura appreciated it
Yeah.
for a few seconds anyway.
Yeah.
And then he gave him the stiffest knee strike
Yeah.
you can ask for.
Yeah, I loved the attention that they gave this. They gave it the attention
Yeah,
it
it
deserved.
felt like it should have been on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Gave him
Not
a half hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean they really laid out the episode geared solely towards this, as it should have been. A match I know you were predicting could be a match of the year candidate, and I know you said on What's NXT that it is. I don't remember if you said it is your match of the year so far, but you said immediate match of the year candidate.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has the potential to be on there. It's on my short list. I don't speak for everybody, but I mean, the pop that they got, the way that they built the show, all the way around it, and just the history between the two competitors. They laid it all out there. The false finishes were really good, and the fact that Balor's the first man to kick out of the Kinshasa
Yeah,
is,
that also was a thing
is a
that
perfect
I
little cherry
noticed.
on top.
Yeah.
Because I think this will be Finn Balor's last go around
Oh,
with NXT.
yeah, I don't.
That's his last image.
Yeah. I don't think there's any chance that we see him at Takeover Brooklyn at all.
Nah.
You
No,
might see him.
Yeah, yeah,
Sunday.
He might
I-
show up at some.
I do not
Yeah.
think that we're gonna get to see him in Brooklyn, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, we got to see him in February. I
Mhm.
guess it was in a tag match. I think it was Corbin.
Yep.
Corbin and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, it was him and Aries against
Versus
Corbin
Aries
and
and Balor,
Samoa Joe,
yeah.
I believe.
That match was okay. But
Yeah.
then put him in a tag match. He was coming back from injury. I think at that point. That might be
Yeah.
his first match back.
It was. Yeah, it was cool just to see him. So,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah,
a
it
barn
wasn't the
burner of a
demon.
match,
It wasn't
but,
the demon,
yeah.
and that's okay.
But so you're a big fan of both these guys, I assume.
Oh yeah,
So
especially because Finn's New Japan roots is
Mhm.
Prince Devitt, Prince
Yeah.
Devitt, so that kind
and
of
they really delved into that. They were not
Yeah,
bashful
no.
about putting all that stuff over.
no.
So I just want your thoughts. I'm not even gonna have a back and forth about this. I just want you to give me your
As far
thoughts
as
on
the
the entire
Nakamura
presentation of that whole.
The match itself was excellent. I think match of the year wise,
Mhm.
definitely a candidate. I think Nakamura and Zayn obviously have an edge. The stage they were on was
Yeah.
much bigger, and the crowd adds a lot to a match. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't really have much to say.
I'm assuming you went in with the. Did you?
Yeah,
did you
my
know the spoiler?
my expectations were high. I mean,
You
I wouldn't
knew-
call it a spoiler because I think that it's pretty clear what
Yeah.
needed to happen.
Mhm.
Luckily, they booked it to where, again, how Derek had mentioned earlier, he did kick out of the devastating, knee to the
Mhm.
head in the Kinshasa. So I think that's a good rub for Balor moving
It was
forward.
to the back of the head, if I'm not.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think it
think.
was.
A lot of the time, it is the back of the head.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's a knee to the head.
Sometimes he does like the second rope,
Yeah.
off the second
If he
rope.
just catches you just under the
It's
chin,
over. The shin will finish the job.
Yeah.
When he follows through. But I think that's a good rub for Balor moving forward.
Mhm.
He's the only person that has and probably will for a minute.
Yeah, it's going to
kick
be a
out of it.
while before that happens.
I think Nakamura and Joe's the next logical progression for Takeover, and
Mhm.
I think that's going to happen.
Well,
I think it's pretty
Rhino,
clear.
Rhino answered the question of
Oh,
why is he back.
and I answered the question of why Rhino's back.
Yeah, I mean he's back to job to Samoa Joe, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's-
actually one of the things that I wanted to talk about was the lack of development with Samoa Joe as the title holder. It was such a big deal that they made about it, him winning at a
Mhm.
house show, which I thought was different. You don't really
Yeah.
see it a lot. But since he's had it, I can't really say that I was invested in anything. I think he had Eric Young come in for a one-all. I don't even know if that was a title. It might have been a non-title match.
It was, I think.
I don't get it. You booked him like a monster, and he's a monster, but you haven't really done anything with him
Right.
up until this
Number
past
one
week.
Samoa Joe fan right now.
I'm not
Yeah.
a number one Samoa Joe fan. I'm just saying that, like,
No, Ron's a big Samoa.
oh,
I
you're
love Samoa
you
Joe,
don't Samoa
yeah.
Joe. What the hell's up with Samoa Joe? What are they doing?
I don't know. They gave him the belt, and it's almost like they think, well, that was enough for now.
Yeah, like I don't get it.
I don't know if it's
Why
that
stop
they're.
developing the character?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that
or
they
feuds
knew.
in general.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that they knew we're doing Nakamura Balor, and that's going to be the biggest thing for anybody anyway.
That's
so
not
we'll
true.
wait. You don't think? I think that's what
That's some people would think
fan
that. But
perspective. I think that's what they think. Like that's going to overshadow anything. So we'll let Joe
But
be
with
the
a title
champion
on
in
the
waiting, and then we'll bring Joe. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're going to do.
Like, I mean, I
But
was
he
really
does
excited.
deserve more.
Yeah, I was really excited for Nakamura and Balor, but seeing Nakamura go for his first, title in NXT that's really exciting to me.
Yeah.
And I know it's probably at least to see Samoa Joe.
No, that's awesome. I mean,
I think Samoa
love
Joe will
both
win
those guys.
Samoa Joe, I think is. I wouldn't call it a lock, but I feel like he has to retain a couple times. You can't make him look like a bum.
Yeah, I mean Samoa
But
Joe
part
for
of it
me,
is booking him in the feuds with people that he can go with. And
Yeah.
I think Rhino's probably not the best one to call on.
Yeah, Samoa Joe was in Ring of Honor and TNA at a time when I was either not watching wrestling or was definitely not watching TNA. And so I knew who he was, just flipping channels. I had seen him before, I was aware of him, but knew really nothing about him. Then he comes to NXT, and I watch a couple matches, I'm like, oh, this guy's really good. Character-wise, it was like, okay, he's just a baby face,
Yeah.
And then
They did
the
the
heel
tag
turn,
tournament,
and every week I saw him. I liked him
Better
more
and
and more.
better.
And now I'm like, this guy is great.
Yeah, I mean,
And he
I
does
feel like
deserve.
He hasn't even been on NXT TV. I feel
No.
like this past week we
The
were
most you've seen him.
fortunate enough to catch him. He's like elusive or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
the ever elusive.
the ever elusive Samoa Joe. Yeah.
They made note of it. He was off TV for a month.
Was it a full month?
After he beat,
About to say, he beat him in
after
the
he
cage.
beat Balor at the end, it had been 3 weeks to a month. He was not on television.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is a lot.
That's me. You want to talk about a couple of nitpicks?
Yeah.
That's me. Being nitpicky.
And Rhino's back to make sure people remember that Joe's a monster.
Yeah.
Because Rhino's a big,
And took over.
Mhm.
he's a big, intense-looking dude.
Yeah.
And even casual people would be like,
The man
oh.
beast.
Yeah. And when Joe tears him apart next week, they'll be like, oh,
Is
wow,
that
he's really dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, there's a lot next week. Authors of Pain versus Alpha.
Oh,
which
finally!
Yeah.
Get to shine some light on that.
Yeah.
I think we're getting 2 squashes next week. I think Alpha's getting demolished.
I think so too, because I think they're going to
Probably.
move up. But we'll
Yeah.
talk about
Yeah.
that later too.
So
When I say later, how much time do we have?
You keep saying later. I think we're at like 7 hours right now.
we're probably at about an hour and 45.
I want to go longer than Derek.
Okay.
I want
well,
to show. I want
we
to show
are-
my strength here.
We are rapidly approaching.
Okay.
So the NXT product as a whole, there's a lot of challenges with because it's not developmental anymore. Really,
No.
it doesn't get an opportunity
No.
to be. It is still,
Yeah.
but they have to act. They know people are watching it. They know eyes are on it. They know they're traveling. They need people to show up. Do you appreciate the way they're handling that very delicate balance of bringing people along while having stars that you?
Yeah, I feel like a couple.
And are you worried with the brand split coming that
No,
NXT is
I'm
going
not
to take
worried.
a big hit?
I'm not worried.
Okay.
I feel like that guys like if Ibushi is signed, that's huge. I mean, Atami's coming back,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I know,
Which would be good to see.
which will be good to see. Nakamura will still be there, hopefully. I know that you guys don't like Blake and Murphy.
Yeah.
I think they could be the developmental jobbers and have like people coming up through developmental squash them. Like they don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. You need
Let's
people
talk about
to do
Alexa
that.
Bliss real quick.
All right.
She's awesome.
She is great.
Her facial expressions are crazy.
Facial expressions. Yeah.
and
the
she does that thing with
gestures.
that thing on her hand.
Yeah.
That's cool. I
And she,
don't,
and she chokes a bitch.
she
does-
does.
so that's
she
great.
does choke a bit.
The- the-
and
the
the
psycho-
eye,
the psycho
glare,
peepers.
Yeah.
And yeah, the choke, and then I
Yeah.
like the sweeping the leg out and planting somebody.
Yeah.
I like the
leaving Blake and Murphy was the best thing that ever happened to her.
Yeah, I like
And
that they
think-
finally changed the name of the Sparkle Splash.
Yes.
It was long
Twisted
overdue.
Bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sparkle Splash doesn't sound very.
No, it was
heelish.
perfect when she was wearing the tutu, and
Yeah.
but nowadays,
See, I wasn't
her,
there for that.
Yeah,
I
her-
missed
Yeah,
the
she was
tutu.
wrestling's version of Tinkerbell.
Oh.
Yeah,
no. I'm
her
glad I missed it.
improvement. Her improvement has been like,
Night and day.
yeah, and it's. I don't want to know if it's necessarily rapid improvement, but her improvement over the course of a year is.
Her and Carmella.
Yeah,
Carmella
Carmella
has got
too.
so Carmella was. I talk about this all the time. She was the one of the three of them that got booed, and they loved Enzo, they loved Cass, and booed Carmella.
Yeah.
And now those guys are gone, and now Carmella is
yeah.
getting cheered on her own.
Yeah.
She puts on a good match. I like her finisher. I like that she has a transition into her finisher.
Yeah.
I
I also like the suggestion that you made this past week of her eventually turning on Bailey, which I
yeah,
think
because
it would add a little bit to her character.
It would, and if it is truly supposed to be developmental, you get to see her work a heel character before.
Let them have the opportunity to work both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, like Bailey will never be a heel.
No. Sami Zayn never be a heel.
Right, but there's almost everybody
John
else.
Cena.
Yeah, almost everybody
Probably
else.
Bailey as a heel would be soul crushing.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. It would be so hard to watch.
Like if
would
you
she-
want to
would
like
she
sweep the
not
legs
hug?
out from
Yeah.
from all the WWE universe, have Bailey turn heel. Oh
So,
my,
my
gosh.
thing
She
with
pushes
Bailey-
Izzy over.
Well, Sasha did that.
Yeah.
She
Sasha
stole the thing,
And then threw it at her.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was
She
great.
did the fake
Yeah.
crying and then threw it at her.
That was great.
That
was
is, I
amazing.
popped for that. Yeah, alone sitting on my couch, like popping for that, just because like she's the best heel.
Yeah.
My thing with Bailey is, so Bailey, I never disliked her, but she wasn't like one of my favorites. And then we get to NXT Brooklyn, and obviously I know as the wearing my Legit Boss T-shirt there almost exclusively to see this huge match for Sasha, knowing she's going to drop the title that night. Didn't want it to happen, but knew it was going to. And they won the way they put everything out on the line. Like, they both almost killed themselves
Yeah.
on
Top
at least one
Frankensteiner,
occasion. Yeah. It, like, they really threw caution to the wind, put it all out there. The story they told, not even just that night, but the story leading up to it, and then that night itself. I actually got choked up when Bailey won.
Yeah, I think everybody came out.
Aaron and I
Becky-
talk
Becky
about it all
Lynch
the
and
time
Charlotte
because
came
Aaron
out.
was with me that night, and we always have to make we didn't cry,
No.
but it wasn't out of the question that we could have.
No.
And then the Four Horsewomen coming out, and it was like
Yeah. It was
for
very
me-
emotional.
yeah, for me personally, this is like we said, you came full circle with one of the first things you saw was the triple power bomb.
Yes.
And now you're coming
And
to
now
a point
I-
where you're
yeah.
seeing the triple threat.
Yes.
This was my first, as like somebody knowing what's going on in wrestling, not being a total mark,
It's a
thinking
work.
it's real. The Click was like my thing. Like I'm a teenager, like it was in my
That's it.
wheelhouse at that
Yeah.
time for the Click.
Okay.
HBK, my favorite of all time. Loved Razor. I liked Diesel enough. I liked X-Pac enough, but like those guys, like Triple H enough. Those guys, those were my guys. And them doing the curtain call was like a huge thing at the time.
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
Like unbelievable thing at the time. And then to be there the night that the Four Horsewomen do it, and it's like Sasha Banks was part of what pulled me back into how much I like wrestling again.
Yeah.
The first thing I saw of her was right before her match with Charlotte at TakeOver. I don't remember which one it was. It was the end of 2014. She came out wearing Charlotte's T-shirt that said, "If you're going to do it, instead of do it with flair," she had it taped over that said, "Do it like a boss."
That's awesome.
And I'm like, she's wearing Charlotte's shirt with her own moniker on it. She did. It was the first time I saw her do like the Flair strut and mocking him. And I'm like, I don't know who this girl is, but she's gonna be great. Like great heel. And then the match was awesome. And that's when I like really dove in. And then I went to the Rumble a couple weeks after that. And then the rest is history.
Straight back into it.
So it was cool. That was like a full circle moment for me. It was like I'm seeing this group of women that I've started to really like and really got me interested again, having their own curtain call, like, and I'm here watching it in New York, which is where it happened the first time. So it was really cool. But so now, why aren't you worried about
moving
NXT?
forward the brand split? I think that there's enough people there and coming there that they'll be able to maintain, week to week.
How many people do you think are going to get called up during the draft?
Balor, obviously. I think American Alpha's going to get called up, and I think Bailey's going to get called up.
And do you think that's it, or do you think who else do you think is ready? I mean, obviously you got your veterans like Joe and Nakamura would be ready, but I don't think they're.
Yeah,
ready
I think Joe needs to hang around for a little bit more. I don't know. The Revival's okay. I don't think they're ready to move up to the main roster. I think Alpha's more main roster ready. Even though they've been together less, I think. I think they have. They have such a natural chemistry that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, they have a little bit more that they're bringing to the table.
I just want to throw something in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we not call NXT a developmental area anymore?
That's the other thing too.
It's really not. It's not a developmental area.
I mean, that's where you develop and eventually move to the main roster, but for the most part, it's its own standalone brand.
It's a traveling independent.
Yeah, the developmental side of it is stuff that's not happening on their shows.
Yeah.
Like
It's happening on Breaking
like people
Ground.
like Hugo Knox, who's
I remember
working matches
you
on
talked
live
about
shows,
it.
but he's not on TV yet. He's been on TV once, I think, in a tag match.
That's the developmental aspect, but that I think of more of just the developmental center. For NXT, the show, Hugo Knox is not on the NXT show. The NXT show is a bunch of guys that they brought in, like a Sami Zayn, a Kevin Owens, and Nakamura.
Or even the local,
and
some
Aries
local guys.
type of thing. They're very few and far between WWE-made guys on the NXT program.
Yeah, no, you're right. And there is a developmental aspect to it, only because there has to be if your goal is to get them onto Raw or SmackDown. But it has gotten so big to where people have an expectation when they watch it on Wednesday night.
That or they would rather watch NXT than watch the main product.
Yeah, or you have an expectation of the quality you're going to see when you go see them when they're in your city or a city within an hour's drive of you. Like, you have an expectation, and if you are just developmental, you're not going to be able to deliver.
You were not going to draw anybody
quality
out there.
So it's like a fine line of like, yeah, we're developing these people at the Performance Center. We're kind of bringing these people in, like, what's her name? Athena Reese, I think. Her name is now Ember Moon, I think is her name. She was an indie wrestler forever.
That's a new one to me.
Yeah, I believe she's probably going to debut within the next couple months.
Okay.
Maybe if Bailey gets called up or whatever happens.
Yeah, see,
Maybe she'll debut
and then,
soon.
Noof or whatever, Aaliyah.
Yeah.
I can see her as someone replacing Bailey.
Yeah,
there might be a couple people that need to replace like a bigger star like that, but I think they have enough people, not necessarily ready, but someone in there they can put in there that they can definitely work with and work around.
Yeah. So
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
That's his podcast. It's fine.
No, you can say what you're going to say.
They have
fight.
We're going to fight over whether you get to talk or not. You're fighting against yourself.
The constant battle.
the test of all time. The battle against oneself.
Battle against oneself. No, I think they have realistically one person in the women's division that is actually ready to move into title contention, and that's Bliss. That's pretty much it. Because Bayley, we said that she's going to go up to the main roster. I don't see her having much of a shot at all of dethroning Asuka in Brooklyn. The next person up on the totem pole, realistically, is Bliss to go for that title. And really, I don't really believe her beating Asuka either.
No, I was just going to say that.
The whole feud
it would take a little bit more time.
Nia Jax.
So there needs to be a real influx of female talent to NXT now, because right now they have maybe 3 or 4 months worth of programming in title matches for Asuka, because otherwise Asuka isn't on TV either.
Yeah,
no, she hasn't been either. That's a good point.
So I do think they have some women who are ready. Now, I don't know firsthand how many we haven't seen on TV that are ready to go. But I do know, I'm trying to remember, Athena Reese was her.
Liv Morgan is another one.
Liv Morgan, yeah. She's been on TV.
The Suspension is a fan of Liv Morgan.
Yes, loves her.
Would be awesome if they
Santana Garrett's another one. Deonna Purrazzo. There's people there that they can bring in.
Oh, well, how did we forget...
Tessa Blanchard.
Poison Ivy.
Yeah, Tessa Blanchard,
What's her name?
Billy Kay, Peyton Royce.
Peyton Royce.
Yeah, she's good. Poison Ivy.
You were there in February when she had the flower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her gimmick is Poison Ivy.
Yeah, it is. No, she's good. Athena Reese was on the Indies. Now, she was there when I was at the Performance Center. Met her, shook her hand, and...
What, Peyton Royce?
No, this is Athena Reese.
Okay.
So, and I saw her working. They had like all the separate rings, and the women are working in one ring. And I saw them working a little bit. I was like, she looks like she's pretty good. And I'm assuming in my head, like, I've never seen her before. She's like brand new. Mm-hmm. And then I looked her up when I got home, and she like has been around for a little while on the Indies. Right. I think they just recently changed her name to Ember Moon or something like that, which tells me she's probably ready to be on TV now that she has like an NXT name.
Yeah, that was the big thing I think on Breaking Ground as far as the transitioning from developmental to NXT ready was you get a name,
you get your gimmick and your
get a
character
and
all that.
You're ready.
Hot Nation became Apollo Crews.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they have not done. We discussed this for a while. Like
he smiles with the best of them.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. He does.
Did you either of you see the thing on Twitter when people were retweeting a lot of his old
tweets? Yes. I did see that. And it was like something about the New Day or Big E or something. And I think WWE made him like
he deleted
suspend or delete his Twitter.
Yeah.
And recreate a new one.
That's funny.
And that's what some people were saying.
Some unflattering remarks.
A lot of people were saying Apollo Crews is more over with me now than he has been his whole time in NXT and WWE.
They could have made him a heel out of that.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah,
well, they actually had a backstage segment with Apollo and Big E where they like pointed at each other and smiled.
When was this?
This was on like a SmackDown or something.
Okay, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. SmackDown.
Either that or it was like a WWE.com video type thing.
Yeah,
but I can't say that I religiously watch SmackDown.
They addressed it subtly.
I do. I'll scroll through it just to see if there's anything that may need to be discussed.
They did that too, also, where they dug up old tweets.
Really?
And he had one. It was just like, sick Space Jams.
That's great.
He's a legend in my mind.
Yes.
If he's really tweeting that.
It was during the period before he dropped the belt to Cena.
Oh,
31 also, so he was super non-American. And they tailed up that he was watching Space Jam.
That's awesome. So you think only a handful are going to come up from NXT?
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to do too much.
So
some of the people there that I wrote down some notes about, wanted to talk about, was Andrade Cien Almas.
Did you know anything of him at all before he got
I
there?
knew that he was La Sombra, just from the speculation on the internet and stuff like that. His gimmick is bad. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's not one. It's a guy who wears a hat.
Yeah, my sister. I'm like,
he's the guy from the Smooth Criminal video.
Yeah,
which actually, if you think about it now, it's not the worst gimmick. I love that video.
my sister.
I did that in a talent show in 8th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I was watching a couple weeks ago, and my sister walks into the room, and she goes, I was like, Lauren, what do you think that this guy is doing here? I was like, is he like a? She's like, is he a male stripper? And like we had,
he's an exotic dancer.
We had. That's what he looks like. He walks into a room filled with people, half clothed, with suspenders
too, right?
and a hat on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
is there a feather in the hat? Am I remembering that?
There
right?
might be a feather in the hat. Otherwise, his music is bad. His gimmick is bad. Other than that, he's this close to busting out.
Yeah.
Because in the ring, he's very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
He does the hang between the ropes that I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, he's got like some signature.
His finisher
stuff.
is weird, but it looks like it could be potentially dangerous and hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So it's believable. He's a tweak away from being a guy that you could see make a little bit of run.
Yeah, and luckily that's what NXT. Well, that's what it has been for. Now it didn't do it for Apollo Crews.
No,
but if they, like you said, a tweak, just one little character thing that they can figure out, then he's off to the races.
With Breeze too, it was just just being an ass.
And Breeze was awesome.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
Him and Liger from last year was excellent.
Oh, it was an awesome,
great start, great
mm-hmm.
opener. Nia Jax, I mentioned before, not really a fan.
Not a fan.
No.
Now, do you see potential, or do you just see she's?
I see Tamina is what I see, and I'm not trying to say it in any rude sense.
Yeah, no, I know
but that's what I see, a bodyguard. I don't really see any sort of run as a title holder or anything. I see that's what she looks like. Part of it's the look, and I understand that, but whatever. I don't know. She just really doesn't do it for me in the ring. I understand, like she's like almost like a Hogan.
Yeah,
just does the same kind of stuff, power stuff, leg drop, and it's over.
So what they did with her is they knew she's The Rock's cousin. They know she's from that family, and they presented her as
The Rock's cousin. Sounds familiar.
And a baby face. And that's not how they should have presented her at first.
No, present her like a badass.
Being a baby face is difficult.
Yes,
you have difficult than being a heel.
They all, everybody says
they bring her out there as a baby face, and it's like not getting over. Similar to Charlotte when she got to the main roster, it was not connecting.
No.
They make Nia Jax a heel, and she has gradually, I feel like, gotten better. She's never going to be a phenomenal worker. Just not in the cards.
Not in the cards, yeah.
But if she can get that character, like when she was with Eva Marie,
that was good.
It almost came across as like they were like menacing almost.
Yeah.
And you don't see women that are menacing.
And you had like the pretty girl, whatever, and her bodyguard that could kick your ass, and that I did.
Yeah.
Think was interesting.
I think there's some hope.
Yeah, there might be some hope, but
it depends on what they do, how they allow her to grow.
Her music is bad too.
Yes, it is.
Like you want to book her like you want to book her like a monster, but she comes out to some, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to call it.
So who else in NXT?
It's terrible.
Not the first time you guys have had this conversation.
Probably not. Probably not the last two.
Yeah. So who else in NXT? Either jumps out to you.
That's it really. I mean, I mentioned a lot of people before, so we'll just stick with that.
So the last thing I want to get into, the brand split.
Okay.
I have a few feelings on it. I wrote about this a couple months ago. Talked about it a little bit on the show. So Raw, still a 3-hour show. SmackDown now, a 2-hour live show on Tuesday. My hope was that, one, the shows would be different. Look different.
Yeah.
Different style of roster, different style of storytelling. I don't want to feel like I'm watching a 3-hour Raw on Monday and then a 2-hour Raw on Tuesday. I want it to be different. I want them to look different. I want it to feel different when I'm watching. I feel like I want the women to be on one show, it being Raw because there's an extra hour you can use.
Yeah.
And Raw, for a while, if not forever, will be viewed as the superior show. So I feel like the women get elevated by being on Raw.
The flagship show.
Yes, instead of SmackDown. And while there's a ton of female talent that they have, none of them have been built up yet. So you can do 2 stories on Raw, and then maybe over the course of a year or two, when you introduce more women, and get them on there. Then you can branch out to SmackDown. But for now, I feel like it makes sense to have them confined to one show. You can build them up, build up the women's brand before you split them. Because now it's going to be very watered down if you have
I think so.
Sasha on one show, Charlotte on another, Becky on one show.
Yeah, I don't want to see Sasha and Becky every week.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see it every so. You might want to see it every week. I do not want to see it every week.
Yeah, I want to see tag teams on one show.
Okay.
And I want one show to be more of a wrestling purist show, maybe.
Yeah.
And one be more of the sports entertainment show, and that would be another distinction. Now the fact that it is basically McMahon versus McMahon, I feel like, and the fact that it was rumored, I don't know if this is going to happen, that it was going to be Cena on SmackDown, Roman on Raw. If you have that one guy who is the totally omnipotent character on the show, it's hard to make the show different.
Yeah.
Now, so one, do you think we're going to get two very different types of shows? Based on the things I just said, do you agree with
I hope what you said is as close to accurate as we can get without actually seeing it. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town next week, so I'm not going to get to watch the draft live.
WWE Network has a ticker.
Yeah, they do have a ticker,
awesome.
so I'll probably
are doing that.
I'll probably watch, either on my phone on the network or try.
You
to
mentioned
see
that
something out.
on the show we did, right?
Yeah.
That you wanted them to do that? All right. Well, maybe they watched that.
Whoa.
I mean, it wouldn't be surprising.
So that you'd like to see? Is there anything I didn't mention that maybe you'd like to see in the brand split?
So you're going to have Intercontinental on one, US on another. I think that's pretty safe to say. You're going to have the world title and the women's one, and then the tag titles, and then the other belt. I know that you guys have mentioned on the show before about the thought of introducing another belt, and I think it adds a lot of opportunity to the mix, but I think it devalues the World Heavyweight Championship, or the WWE title, or however they want to call it. The fact that they've been calling it the WWE title in recent weeks has been disconcerting. That they might be reintroducing the World Heavyweight title or World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know. I mean, I want everyone to shine, and you can't. It's impossible.
It is.
Even with a brand split, you're not going to be able to dedicate the time you want to everybody on the roster.
No, and it's never been.
See
that
Zack
way.
Ryder.
Yeah, it's never been that way in wrestling. It never will be. It's impossible unless you do like a half-hour show with a roster of like 8.
Don't give them any ideas.
I won't.
If they're listening, don't give them any ideas.
I just don't want this brand split to come across as like, well, it's just like a thing we did. I want it to be
you want to
cool, exciting. Yeah. They keep billing it as the thing that'll change the face of WWE forever.
We've heard stuff like that.
Find a way to make it actually do that instead of like just the thing you said.
Different sets.
Yeah, the new era.
Yeah,
let this be the new
logos,
era.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The whole 9. Different commentaries.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them not necessarily be eligible to draft, but shake
that
it
would
up.
be cool though. If they
it would be cool, but I just think they just need to shake
like
it up
a surprise pick of a commentator on a show. Everybody's like, "What? You just picked Mauro Ranallo?" Like, I think that'd be cool.
Especially if they do it ahead of Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would love. Yeah, if Shane picks Mauro Ranallo. Well, I mean, it's not really changing though.
Yeah. Now, who do you think stands to gain the most from the brand split?
The club.
Because they will get to just run the show, basically.
Yes. Very NWO kind of taking over the show. I think they have the most to gain. Whether or not they're going to let them do it is another story. I definitely think that AJ Styles and the club have the most to gain. Especially if they're on the show with the tag titles that you said you wanted to see stay.
Yes.
How do you feel about the whole, they've been teasing the whole tag teams could be split up kind of thing?
I don't like it.
No, I don't either. Because it's a train wreck waiting to happen.
Yeah, because
then you have no tag division. If you split all of them up, and then you're going to have half as many tag teams.
Yeah, you should not do that. I think they may just be saying it to add a level of uncertainty.
It's a word.
I hope, but they did it the last time. I really hope they don't do it this time because.
Well, Kofi's been with however many people, but I would hate to see the New Day split
Yeah, I don't want to see the New Day split up. I definitely don't want to see the club get split up. I don't want to see Enzo and Cass split up. At this point, as much as they're not anything right now, I don't want to see Breezango get split up because at least Tyler Breeze is getting to do something every week.
And even Fandango. I think I don't know if Derek and I talked about this, but you want to talk about being a switch away from being a star. He beat Chris Jericho at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
If his gimmick wasn't what it is, that's something to run with.
I just love the idea of holding somebody back because of their gimmick when you gave the guy the gimmick. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, his gimmick. Somebody actually at the Sasha Banks signing in front of me in line, we were talking a little bit, and he was saying that Dolph Ziggler is his favorite. And yeah, that's what he said. And he basically
Bet
said
he likes to steal people's girlfriends.
he probably does.
That's his gimmick.
He spoke very highly of his own girlfriend at the time, but he basically said that Dolph Ziggler will never really reach the level he should because his name is Dolph Ziggler, and they'll never have somebody with the name Dolph Ziggler as the face of their company.
I mean, he's won before.
And it's like, yeah.
But not the face
he
of the company.
has won big gold twice.
Yeah. But my thing is, if you're going to hold somebody back because his name is Dolph Ziggler, why did you name him Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah, it's kind of a dumb name.
Yeah, it's
because when you think of Dolph, the first thing you think of is big Russian man.
Yeah.
Like not Dolph Ziggler.
Like how messed up of the premise is that? That's like getting a dog when it's like really young, naming it something like, I don't know, name it Jack or something.
Yeah.
And then years later, just be like, that's a really stupid name.
Yeah,
like,
I don't really love.
You gave him that name.
I don't really love this dog because his name is Jack.
I don't love this dog. It really should have been more of a Rob.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know why they named this dog.
You punish
human
somebody for
names,
your own
but-
mistake, and that seems to be something that they do. They put
all
you
the
in
time.
this position,
All the time.
and then they hold it against you.
It's like
so-
you bury them before they even start.
Yeah. Now, so you're on record as you don't want to see 2 world titles. You're happy with
Yes.
Okay.
Just because it would I mean, I think I probably speculated before saying, yeah, I would want another one because the opportunity is there for someone like AJ Styles to win a World Heavyweight Championship. But I think a lot of thinking, the WWE title, that's the title of the company.
Yeah.
It has the company's name in the title.
Right.
That's what everyone aspires to be.
And
The other thing, like if on SmackDown, you're obviously not going to see that. You have to have something to build toward, and there could be some sort of pecking order as
Right.
far as, someone. Okay, you'll get the challenge. The number one contender from SmackDown will get the challenge for that belt.
Yeah.
If they win that belt, they'll switch places or
Right.
however they want to do it.
yeah, if they do introduce a second world title, which we can pretty much assume they will, would you like to see the big gold belt come back? Would you rather see them design something new?
Something new.
That's what I'm. Now, what if it's just the belt they have now with a blue
Yeah,
underline instead of
I
a red?
remember you saying that. That's incredibly lazy.
So,
It's a
so the women's belt.
No, no, I did not. He's saying that it's still black and gold, but the red part of the logo is blue. That's not changing enough.
Now let's not.
The
pretend
white leather belt is way cooler. for the women's
let's
division.
not pretend that the women's belt isn't lazy. It's just a lot better than the
It's
butterfly belt.
yes.
It's better, though. The one argument I'll make in favor of the white belt is that the idea that it looks exactly the same as the World Heavyweight Championship.
Speaks to the equality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's I get what you're saying, that it's like, oh, we just said, oh, we have this belt, let's just change the colors. But I do think it puts them a little bit more on equal footing with.
And realistically,
the
what
men.
I'm saying is a total nitpick. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. I think the belt looks great.
Mhm.
I understand and agree with everything that you're
Yeah.
saying. I just still think it was kind of lazy.
Yeah, I would like to see them design something
Yeah,
brand
something
new
different.
if they're going to have a second world title. Now at this point, I think we have surpassed the time we spent with Derek. So is there anything else you specifically?
Too bad I was part of this one too.
Yeah. Yeah, Derek
Shit.
may have accumulated slightly more time.
Oh, damn it!
than
I
you.
didn't think of that.
Every time I've talked, I've added minutes.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Well, since we're going to Ring of Honor tonight, I wanted to kind of end on a Ring of Honor.
Okay.
Kind of, branch
We're
of
gonna
the
talk
tree.
about Dalton Castle for a while.
I could, but we're not going to. I want to talk
Does he
about.
have the boys back, by the
Oh,
way?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there when he got the boys.
Oh, yeah?
Your shirt.
Uh-huh.
He's been the champ for a long while.
Yes.
Too long for me.
Yeah?
I think with Global Wars, Cabana was basically thrown into the match. Colt Cabana is a great wrestler. He's kind of an independent guy. He floats to wherever he wants. It doesn't really bring in a world championship, a Ring of Honor world championship feel.
Yeah.
It just feels like, okay, Colt Cabana's here.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in this
It's a
company
name.
before. We're in Chicago. He's going
Uh-huh.
to be battling for the belt. The match was okay. It did get the DQ finish because of the Bullet Club interference. It wasn't. It didn't really do much for me long term. The next pay per view was Best in the World, where he went finally the rematch between him and Jay Briscoe.
Mhm.
That match was great. I kind of would have liked to see Briscoe win. I thought he was going to win. He hit both. He hit his and Jay Lethal's finishers on Jay Lethal. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
No,
Wow.
I lied.
Okay. You misremembered.
I did misremember. He hit him with a J drill and he kicks out, and then
Okay.
Lethal has to hit Briscoe with both finishers.
Okay.
It's been a while for me. That's the only champion I've seen.
Yeah. That makes sense then.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
Yeah.
In the last year and a half,
Mhm.
and I think he's lacking a lot of heat that he had when he was with the full House of Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Dijak, who's kind of doing his own thing now, he was kind of the enforcer, the bodyguard. He's
Yeah.
a big, tall, physical-looking dude.
Jay
We'll get
Diesel.
to see him tonight.
Mhm.
Jay Diesel. Even Taylor Hendricks for what she's kind of the valet.
Yeah.
She kind of throws a wrench into things every so often. And Truth Martini is the manager.
Mhm.
I think they as a group had a lot of good heat.
Yeah.
Well, not good heat, but heat on them.
Mm-hmm.
And it made him easy to boo as a heel. And they kind of try to transition him into a face, and it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm hoping to see Adam Cole kind of come in and just not lay waste, because I know
No.
you like Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
I want to see him win this belt from Jay Lethal.
But yeah, it's been a long title reign.
He had both belts for a period
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah, and then
the one he lost to Tomohiro Ishii, who's a New
Mhm.
Japan guy. A lot of criticism that I've seen online of New Japan in 2016 is that they put a lot of emphasis on guys that aren't with Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Ishii held the World TV title for a few months before Bobby Fish beat him
Mhm.
for it. Just a lot of New Japan talent kind of taking the spotlight away from your company.
Right.
Part of it's booking, and I understand that you kind of want to draw people in, but some people that were in liking Ring of Honor before the whole partnership
Mhm.
are getting upset.
Yeah.
And I understand where they're coming from, and I kind of want to see them pull back and shift things up a little bit.
Yeah. So I know you want to see Adam Cole be the one who dethrones
Yeah.
Jay Lethal, which would be cool. One of
Bull
the
Club's
things,
on top of the world. They almost
yeah,
have to.
one of the things I wanted to see, I thought it was a cool story they were telling for a while with him having both belts, and he's defending both.
Yeah,
And
that was cool.
On commentary, they kept making the case of like the grueling schedule is going to catch up with them, and like,
They could even factor that into the story.
I thought that was I likened it to the original in the comic books, the original Batman and Bane story, where Bane let loose all of the criminals that were locked up in Arkham Asylum. Batman had to spend something like a month rounding them all back up, and then right when Batman was just drained
Breaks
from
his
everything he had to do, Bane takes advantage of it, breaks his back, and I was like, that's a story you could kind of tell. Like Jay Lethal is just getting pushed to his limits over and over again.
Yeah, but the other thing
to where
is,
he
it's like,
finally can't do it.
if you're going to have like the Bane figure, I mean, I don't see why it couldn't be Adam Cole.
Mhm.
And you can have both Young Bucks attack him. There's so many members of the Bullet Club anymore.
Yeah.
Well, Bane wouldn't pass a wellness exam anyway.
No.
You're right. He definitely would be suspended for a while.
Yeah. You guys can watch that match. I'll just watch this.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get to see that later.
Yeah, you will.
She's
She's great.
she's beautiful.
Taylor Hendricks.
Yeah, I'm really excited tonight for the Women of Honor too. They put a lot of in the production and stuff. They kind of have their
Really?
own
Veda
logo,
and Mandy
own
Leon are
logo
gonna
and
be
stuff
there.
now. Yeah, Veda Scott's going to be there tonight. She's one of my favorite.
So I haven't gotten to watch Ring of Honor since, let's see, I was at that show. I think it was August 20-something. Maybe it was August like 18th or something like that. It was
Yeah.
the Friday before TakeOver Brooklyn.
Okay, because I know
Um,
they had a Field of Honor. They did it at a baseball field that weekend.
Yeah, so I was at the Ring of Honor show that Friday, went to TakeOver Saturday, and I don't know if I've watched Ring of Honor. I definitely haven't watched it in 2016. It's probably been since about October. So you're saying there's some complaints about the Japanese stars taking over for the Ring of Honor stars, or taking
That's the
some
way
shine
that's
from
the way I see it. At least I know a couple people I've seen online. Squared Circle, Reddit, and things like that. They've been upset with the booking by Delirious. That's his ring name. His name's Hunter or something.
Okay.
I can't really.
My last question for you, before I let you guys go and enjoy,
Yeah,
your
honestly.
show, the rest of your day, your tailgate, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see what's up.
If I was going to find a second product to make time to watch,
Ooh,
which would it be?
New Japan.
New Japan over Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
Derek, I'm pretty sure you don't agree with that.
I mean,
He hasn't watched enough.
Or what about Lucha Underground?
Considering I don't
I
like
totally
that,
forgot about
I'll
Lucha Underground.
go Lucha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change my answer as well. I'm gonna say Lucha because the production is about as close to WWE as you're gonna get as far as vignettes and backstage segments and stuff like that, and the action is just as good, if not better, than WWE.
I'll say this: you can't go wrong with any of the three. ROH, New Japan.
They each have something different to offer.
Or LU. LU, I would choose over the other two solely just because Robert Rodriguez is the producer of it,
Which is
and Mark Burnett from
and you know him from doing Death Proof and a bunch of different like grindhouse type movies, and he brings and throws real Hollywood money at the production of this show. This show looks like a movie. They film it like that. NXT's production is considered cutting edge for professional wrestling. Lucha Underground blows it out of the water, and that's saying something because the production for WWE, specifically for vignettes and promos, is normally unmatched. But they kill it, and also women are completely on
like intergender matches. Sexy Star, that's another
like
one.
Sexy
right
Star.
Okay.
She might not be with them anymore. I think she might have left to do boxing or something crazy.
Sexy
But
Star
she has a couple
men
of
on a regular basis.
Yeah. My other personal selling point for Lucha Underground is that it is like a season, like a limited amount of episodes.
It's like
right?
20 some or 30 episodes.
So as opposed to immersing myself into something that is a never-ending grind, I could find something that I could watch. The 13 episodes, and it's like 2 seasons. Is the second season going on?
There's more than 13.
There is, okay, but it's something.
But
that is
the second season,
a
I
little
think,
bit
just
more
finished
contained.
up. They either just finished up or is finishing up this Wednesday.
Okay.
With Ultimate Lucha Dos.
Hmm.
I know that. Yeah, they're having that's like their big year-end show. They do 4 hours. They do one, and then a 2-hour finale.
All right. So
But
Derek, I'm sorry, Derek. Russ, say what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
No. I'm just saying. I thought you were calling me Derek.
No.
I was about to say we had a little problem.
That's a compliment. You must have
Is
done
it?
well.
Is it?
Russ, it was
Ron,
great to have you
It's been an
on.
absolute pleasure. Anytime.
Thank you for taking the time to do it.
Absolutely. This was a blast. Had a lot of fun. Got to spew my bullshit.
Which is always fun to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I love to talk about wrestling.
Here at 2173 Gimmick Street.
Yeah, 2173 Gimmick Street. Yeah. I love talking about wrestling. So anytime, we are always down to swing by.
Sounds good. Yeah, I know you guys are a lot closer than we originally thought.
Yeah, closer than we thought.
So I'm assuming we'll have you guys in here more often than we expected, which would be great.
I don't know about you, but I'm down to do a Brooklyn recap show. If you want to try to do that.
I should be able to do it.
Aaron and I discussed it. I'll be in touch with you about that. We were talking about doing something.
Yeah, I'll let you guys reach out to us.
All right.
We'll move from there.
Yeah.
Because it's your show.
Well, if you had an idea, you could always reach out to me with that too. I'm not Vince McMahon. I'll say that.
I got you.
No,
Alright,
yeah.
pal.
Pal, I owe you one.
Yeah, I'm not Vince McMahon. If you ever have ideas, you can always reach out to me. I'm always open to it.
Gotcha.
So it was great to have you here,
Absolutely.
Derek. Thank you for being here again. I will see you guys soon.
Can I plug my stuff?
Absolutely.
It's Russell D'Agostino on Facebook. RussellDagostino. Like Derek had mentioned, just send me a message. Let me know that you heard about the podcast. More than happy to talk wrestling with you. You guys can check out my stuff. Twitter, it's at RussDiculous93. RussDiculous93.
I just followed you today. I didn't know you were on Twitter. I
Too
happened
sweet.
Yeah. Too sweet. It was great to have you here. Like
Absolutely.
I said, the belts were out in your honor today. Enjoy the show.
That's it.
And we will talk to you soon. Anybody watching or listening, we will see you next week.